welcome to the World Series of Poker 2016 live stream coverage. Today's featured table is the 5K. It is going on right now. It is a rather exciting final table. Natasha Barbour and Dominic Nietzsche still at the final table, and 800K for first. It is a very, very fun one. David Tuckman will be in the booth with his guests providing commentary until we reach the winner. On the secondary feature tables, we have the tag team event. Now, there is still 9 teams left, and they are Polk Fee, Gail Schulman, Charinia Rettenmeyer, Paula Urban Caruso, the Three Littles, Avan Ahmed Glazer Libert, Dempsey Godfrey, Whittleman Greenberg Paul, and Peters Altman. They are all battling it out for the first prize of 153K, which is basically, if you win it, you could just register for the one drop, because one drop starts today at 1 p.m. I will be bringing interviews and updates from all of those events today, but for now, David, take it away.
/live.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be in the world. Hello and welcome to the 47th Annual World Series of Poker. Our final 6 players in event number 59, the $5,000 No Limit Hold'em tournament, are here. You'll notice You Do on the screen likes to go by the name of Alan. So Alan Do has eliminated the 9th, the 8th, and the 7th, and you'll see he is an overwhelming chip leader. 54% of the chips in play in front of him. He is looking for his first ever bracelet. Apparently from China, but plays poker in the Northern California area. Dominic Nietzsche, the German, 3-time bracelet winner, looking for bracelet number 4. Natasha Barbour, also looking for a bracelet here. Finished in 2nd last year. Ishmael Bojang, 41 cashes at the World Series of Poker. He is also looking for his first ever bracelet. Michael Gentili out of Canada. Gentili.
Okay, players, we've got about 10 minutes left on this level, and then we're going to go. The blinds are going to go up. Ignore the antes on the clock. It's incorrect for the next level. I'll announce it. Should be 50.
Gentili, just 23 years old. This is just his 3rd World Series of Poker cash. Did cash earlier this year for $96,000 up in Niagara Falls.
There's a break schedule. We'll skip it and then move on to the next level. Okay, we're going to start out here with
And in seat, in last place is Marius Gierza. Gierza, by the way, also German, 23 years old. This is his first ever World Series of Poker cash. His biggest cash was just this year down at the PCA when he came in 2nd place in a 6-handed turbo event. So here we have it, our final 6 players. That's Ishmael Bojang, 27 years old.
He has 1,785,000 chips. Seat number 2. You Do, who goes over the name of Alan.
Alan Du from Beijing, China. As I mentioned, plays poker in the Northern California area. Learned poker at the Stanford Business School, married with 1 daughter. Dominic Nietzsche. Total live earnings of $6.3 million. This is his 32nd World Series of Poker cash, just 25 years old. Michael Gentili. 1 circuit ring. That was up at the Casino de Montreal. Natasha, 29 years old, 1 circuit ring. This is her 12th cash, looking for her first bracelet.
We are playing for first place prize today of $800,580.
And the gentleman wearing the blue, just to the right, that is Gierza out of Münster, Germany. There you have it. Thank you so much for joining us and spending your Friday with us. I'm David Tuckman.
Raises to 175.
Michelle makes 175,000 to go.
Button close. That's not a big one.
Bojang raises to 175,000. Barbour calls. You see the chips behind on the left side of the screen. As always is the case, we love to keep the show as interactive as possible, so send in your tweets to @WSOP or @TuckOnSports. You heard Tatiana talk about the other events going on right now. It's a big day here at the World Series. Of course, it's a big weekend here at the World Series. The main event starts tomorrow. The one-drop high roller starts in about an hour and a half. The 25K PLO is into day 2. The 3K PLO 8 is into day 2 as well.
210.
1 second. I think I might be 200,000 chips short, and I think they might have gone that way. But I wasn't watching them that much. But I think like last time Can we stop the clock? I think I 12 on this clock. I don't know, if he has too many chips, then I just explain that he just back them up. So the way I count is that I'll cut this down again. So.
I'm actually also short.
There's Marshmallow, the dog,
You're short? This is so
making his 11th final table this summer. That is Natasha and Jason Mercier's.
I have the right amount. Someone help me here. 2 million, 2.2, 2.4. 3.4. 5. 3. 3, 4, 5. I backed 3, 6. So 200 is missing.
Oh, that's 100.
That's, yeah, that's a million. So that's 3 million 2, 3 million 4,
Yeah. So you get
3 million 550,
plus the 10.
3 million 450, right?
4, 5, 5. Yeah. You got one.
Apparently there's a,
3, 4, 6, 5.
I'm trying to figure out exactly how many chips each person has. Maybe a little problem there. Jason Mercier. 4 final tables this summer.
I think I'm 200 short.
2 bracelets. Natasha with her second final table in as many years. As I mentioned, she has won a circuit ring as well.
4, 6, 8, 9 million, right? 10 million, 11 million,
Joining me in the booth very shortly, good friend of mine,
1,000.
and a very well-accomplished high-stakes cash game player who actually has played some with Alan Dew.
The back, for me, says the back says 3.6.
Some insight into the chip leader.
He didn't count himself. A dealer counted for him, and maybe he made a mistake. No. How did you count yourself too?
You were the only bag that wasn't open. We gotta
I have 1.4.
we gotta go.
Mine was right.
That was right. Yours was right.
Mine was right.
I'm short a little bit.
You think you're short? It's so fucking weird.
I'm short at 100 something.
I'm pretty sure I'm short 200.
The conclusion is maybe it miscounted wrong. All the bags were sealed.
Maybe they can check the cameras again and see it.
I could have him check.
That's
Go
what
ahead
it
and
says he
deal.
has.
Yeah, why don't you check at the same time?
I think like 200 might have rolled it.
I don't think so.
I mean, you have so many chips though.
Yeah, but I'm still short.
Right, 10,
You're short.
10,030.
They're just sorting this out here. Dominic Nietzsche, the German with his third, with 3 bracelets. Just 25 years old, and it seems like he's been crushing poker for a long time, and he certainly has been.
Sorry, there might be more.
Joining me in the booth, as I mentioned, Conlin Ma. Conlin, cash game crusher, plays high stakes, also records a podcast for Crush Live Poker, of course, one of our sponsors here at the World Series of Poker.
How's it going, David?
It's good, man. How are you, buddy?
Good.
All well?
Yeah, all's
Are
well.
you actually playing in any events or just
No,
here?
I actually don't play tournaments.
I know you don't really. I know
I only play cash games. I
You
just
just
dropped
play
my
cash
wife
games.
off here at the ladies event.
I was going to say, your wife, Ping, is playing
She
the
plays
ladies event.
tournaments.
Right.
Yeah,
But
she
you're
get-
not even going to play like the big ones. You won't even
No.
play the main event?
No, I'm not gonna. It's just like I just don't want to bust out on like the 4th day right on the bubble and realize that I just wasted my time when I could play a really big cash game and make quite a bit of money.
How big cash games are you playing these days?
I'm mainly playing 10, 25, 50 is the regular game I play, and then
Right.
once in a while there's
Is the 50, is it a straddle on the button or is it small
it's
blind, big
10,
blind under the gun?
25, 50
Okay.
under the gun straddle. And then I'm also playing a home game that plays 25, 50 to 100, 200.
And all no limit hold'em, right?
All no limit.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a tournament here. I thought it would be interesting to bring you in. Obviously, I have a lot of respect for your ability as a poker player, and you have some special insight because the gentleman on the left side of the screen is our overwhelming chip leader. I mean, the guy has 55% of the chips in play. We're 6-handed.
Jesus.
Just,
Okay.
it's just an incredible amount of chips he has. 9-handed, he had like 45% of the chips.
Wow.
He's just been crushing.
Yeah, so
and,
this guy is hilarious because he
right,
showed
now he
up
goes
at
by
our.
Alan Dew, right?
He goes by Alan.
Alan
Yeah,
Dew,
so
okay.
he plays at Matrix. He plays at the casino that I play at regularly.
Right.
And he showed up about, I'd want to say like almost like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and he just crushed and dominated the regulars. Like he like destroyed me for like 28K like on New Year's Day in 2014. Like
Wow.
the first time I played it. Because like he does some things that are just like completely unorthodox and like very disruptive if you don't know what he's doing.
Let's get more into that in a second because we've had that has kind of been a theme, an ongoing theme this entire summer. So more on like unorthodox play and how how a professional has to adapt to deal with that. We have Dominic Nietzsche has raised. He might find himself pot committed. He's going to call this a 10-8 suited, and he's got live cards, so he's got to be pretty happy with the result. Gurza all in for 620,000. Blinds are 40-80. You can see that in the bottom right corner of your screen. You can see the pot size in the bottom right corner. You can see the hand number. Bottom left corner, you can see what players, what country they're from, and obviously how often they will win the hand when it goes to showdown. Gurza, a 3-2 favorite.
How deep are these players like typically?
No, they're not. And these guys, I mean, Gurza is not deep at all. I mean, he was all in for 8 bigs.
Okay. I mean, just for reference, when I play a cash game, usually I'm like at least 100 to 400 bigs deep. Wow.
What a flop, huh?
That's
I mean, all in pre, and this is the flop. Wow. And that's it. Wow.
Man.
Dominic Nietzsche. Well, at least you didn't have to wait for the river.
Yeah, this guy runs good, I heard.
Yeah. He's a really good player, and yes, he runs good. He hits it twice.
Pretty good.
He hits it twice. Dominic Nietzsche has eliminated Marius Gurza in 6th place.
When German players, you can know always there's a 7.
Wow. 54% of the chips in play.
Did a total chip count.
Okay, maybe I might have been.
If we added 200,000 to your stack,
That was too much.
in the tournament by 200,000.
Sure. Okay, maybe I missed.
Hold on. How to expand on short hop?
Check if we added all the chips together. Total chips in the tournament. If we added 200,000 to his stack, he'd be
Yeah, but
At which chip counts did you know?
This is so weird. But his stack was counted by the dealer.
no. The stacks were counted by you guys last night.
His stack was counted by the
His
dealer.
stack was counted by dealer.
It was in the bag and you opened the bag. So whatever was in the bag is it.
But which chip counts did you have? Did you have?
We did the total chip count. And
Right now. Okay.
Right now, and if we added 200,000, we put it on 200,000. Let's go ahead and play.
Okay.
Okay, so you're small blind, you're big blind now?
Aber ich kann mir vorstellen, dass ich das so verzählt habe. Ich war mir ziemlich sicher, dass es 2 von denen waren.
Okay, whatever you think you're missing, you make it up already.
Wie 2 von denen. Also 200.000. Ja. 12 oder so.
Ja. Weil wie mein Stack gestern noch gebreakt habe.
Like small blind?
Naja. Sorry, I'm trying to get the RFID right.
We continue on 5-handed. Marius Gurza takes home 132,000. I've got special guests coming in the booth. Every year we always have some. We try to cover stories and not just poker. And as far as I'm concerned, the story that I woke up to 2 days ago is about as good as it gets. By the way, the remaining 5 players all guaranteed $179,000. Dominic is going to raise. Dominic's in a great spot because he's got position on Larry Dew, our chip leader, but more on that in a second. So I woke up yesterday morning to this fantastic story where I saw the tag team event, and the excitement that was going on in the tag team event seemed just palpable. Everybody loved it. People were dressing up for it. People were talking about it. And then I stumbled upon a story where I saw that Jonathan Little had started the tournament, played in orbit, and built up a little bit of a stack, and then handed it off to his mom and his dad. Now, I thought, hey, what a great story this is. It'll be really cute if they can make it past dinner, because I knew Jonathan Little was still in the 5K. And so Jonathan Little ran off to the 5K. and his mom, Rita, and his dad, Larry, took over. By the time Jonathan got his stack back, the starting stack was 7 times as large. And apparently, Rita Little didn't lose a pot. So we've got them in the booth, and as far as I'm concerned, this is what the World Series is all about. I love this story. And by the way, if you do not know, the Littles, Little, have made the final table of the event. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you
This
very
is
much.
this is Rita. You're on camera, by the way. Say hi to the world.
Hey.
And come on in here a little bit. Oh, come in closer.
Yeah.
We'll slide you in here. Larry, come on over a
on.
little bit more
Okay.
so we can all see you. So this is Larry Little. This is Rita Little. Congratulations to both of you guys.
Well, thank you very
what
much.
What was the experience like? And the ability to play a tournament and tag team with your son, and then make a final table. It must have been really exciting.
Yeah, it's been incredible. It really has. And like you said, Rita and I, we were able to play like the first 5 levels on day 1 and managed to do very well. And so it was incredible. We were happy to hand Jonathan a good chip stack, and then he played the rest of day 1. And then Rita played some on day 2. I played on day 2. I thought I made a good bluff.
Yeah.
And got shoved on and was forced to fold my hand. And at that point in time, I was just a little bit on tilt, so I let John take over.
That's great. That's the best thing about this tag team. You can, you don't feel it. You hand it over to somebody else who can. I heard, Rita, you didn't lose a hand.
Well, I lost one hand.
One hand. Okay. Well, you know what? You better work on that. Okay. You've got a
know.
whole year to go home and work on that and come back better next year.
I know. I'm going to read Jonathan's books again.
Yeah. No. I'm a big fan of Jonathan. We've had him in the booth numerous times, and I've read his books as well. It's not relaxing reading, but it's a good read. That's for sure.
It's a good study.
It's a good study. Yeah. I
Yes.
like that. That's a good word for it. So I know at the final table, unfortunately. Since all 3 of you were in the booth, Jonathan, by the way, is in here as well, just kind of watching onward. You have been eliminated from the tag team event.
That's
Sadly.
unfortunate. You know, John got in good with Ace Jack, got called by Ace 7, and unfortunately,
It wasn't to be.
the way the cards fell, we're out in 9th place.
I'm about 91.3% certain that had Rita been playing the final table, you guys would still be in there.
Well, you know, I was a team captain, and John actually says, "Hey, you need to play. You need to play some today." He really wanted us to enjoy our, World Series of Poker experience at the final table. But, I was a team captain, and I used to be John's baseball coach, and I said, "Look, John, our team is trailing. It's late in the game. I've got to put my strongest player in there, and that's you." And so I just insisted on him play.
Right. This is not about we're not 6-year-olds anymore. It's not equal time
No,
for everybody. We're
that's
trying
right.
to win,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah, we definitely wanted
That's
to win.
right.
Nothing could have been better for us if we'd have been a part of Jonathan winning his first World Series of Poker bracelet. That would have been certainly a dream come true.
Yeah, no, and I'm sure for him as well. I mean, I look back at myself when my dad comes out and plays the seniors event and how excited I am to watch him play. I'm getting him to come out next year. I got to play in this event with him.
Oh, really?
Was this your
Yes.
first ever cash, by the way?
It's my first cash.
Your first cash here at the World Series?
And-
You've cashed before at the World Series?
This is my 3rd cash. Yes.
Your 3rd cash. Oh, so you're a veteran.
I don't know about veteran, but we come every year to visit Jonathan
And support him.
and our vacation. And generally we take a little road trip while we're out here, and we come and I play throughout the year back in my hometown. I usually have a little small bankroll when it's time for the World Series of Poker, and I come out here and play some tournaments.
So everything that Jonathan
it's not
knows-
now, John tried to teach me bankroll management, but I don't listen very well because I want to come out here and play. You know what I mean?
Right. I got you. Yeah, well, Jonathan is a mild-mannered guy, and he seems like he's got it all together. I assume that he must get that from you then, huh, Rita?
He gets it from me.
Yeah. Okay, you're the conservative type. I got it. Anyway, congratulations to all 3 of
Thank
you,
you.
Especially you two. Obviously, what an
Thank you.
experience, and
Yes.
hopefully we'll see you back here next year.
It was awesome.
Oh, we will be
Thank
here,
you.
and we'll be playing the tag team. Too,
I love
I'm
it.
sure.
I love it.
Yes,
And next
we
year, you
will.
guys
And
got
hopefully you and your father will be here.
next year you got to wear costumes. I mean, you got to have like uniforms, okay? Like the Littles or something. I don't know. Something fun.
We'll see what we can come up with.
Yeah, I'll have my graphic designer work on something for you.
Okay, that
Very good.
sounds wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Rita,
for having us. It's been a
Larry,
pleasure.
My pleasure, please. Thank you so much, and congratulations to all 3 of you, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's turn our attention back to the table here. You can see Natasha Barbour raising under the gun with Queen Jack.
And Michael's going to go ahead and call the 225,000. We're going to go to a flop here. brings a 10 of clubs, ace of spades, and a jack of clubs. Both players check, and they go to the turn. Turn is a 6 of spades.
A little bit of showdown value for both players, although you can see Natasha well ahead of Gentili. That is Michael Gentili out of LaSalle, Ontario, Canada. We'll get Conlon Ma back on the mic here. Talk some more poker. I love stories like that. I got to tell you, to me, that's what the World Series is all about.
250.
So that's 250,000.
Conlon Ma. So you can see the action here. So pre-flop, Natasha raises under the gun. We're five-handed, so under the gun is the cutoff seat. No, I'm sorry, the hijack seat.
How? So he just flatted the.
He flatted out the big blind.
blind.
Went check on the flop. Yeah, pretty standard in the tournament where both players, you know, they've got showdown value, don't want to get raised. And then turn, it goes check, bet, fold.
Are they deep enough, like where he could just 3-bet that hand? Or, I mean, short enough where he should just be
I'm going to get the
that
chips.
hand?
I'm going to get the chips. Obviously, we missed a few hands while I was talking to the littles. But you can see here, so Natasha's got 25 big blinds. She's in third place. Obviously, Larry's got a ton of chips. Nietzsche's got
you mean Alan.
Alan, sorry.
has it.
Thank you very much. Alan, I'm all Larry'd now. Yeah, no, Alan has a ton of chips. But the effective stacks are obviously much smaller. I mean, obviously, if Natasha is in third place with 25 bigs, you know, we have two players that are shorter than her. I know Dominic is in second place with chips. By the way, the orange chips you see are 5K, green chips 25K, and those purple chips are 100,000 each.
Okay.
Conlon Ma, David Tuckman here for Event 59. We're five-handed in the 5K no limit hold'em.
Yeah, so I really want to tell this Alan story.
Yeah,
'cause
please. Now go ahead. I'm sorry.
So he shows up at the casino, right, and he starts playing 10 1/4 with us. And this guy literally within 2 weeks, like, cleans up all, like, the best players. Like,
just crushing them.
Yeah, like my buddy Tang, like, there's another, there's another
all
guy here. All the regs,
Right.
basically. Like, destroys them.
And you guys are probably licking your chops because you see,
Yeah,
this,
we're
guy,
like-
you
we're
see
like-
this guy you don't
he's
know.
like-
You're thinking, okay, you know, a rich businessman from China.
Yeah.
Cool. This is awesome.
Yeah. But this guy, like, well, I think he goes on a heater, first of all. But he also has this style that, like, always puts us in a bluff-catching situation, right? Where you're like, he has this weird thing where he kind of, like, plays, like, top pair hands. Whenever the board is, like, pretty draw-heavy, he'll, like, check raise them on the turn as the pre-flop raiser. Like, he'll check back whenever he doesn't have, whenever he has, like, a decent hand, and he'll check raise wet boards to make you call them. Like, he check raised and over, like, I
Wait,
made.
go through the whole thing one more time. Say it again.
So,
man.
as the pre-flop raiser, if he
Right.
flops top pair, even on a wet board sometimes, he'll just check it back. And then he'll assume that you bet the turn, and he'll raise you on the turn, right? And he might make a small bet on the river. So he'll like, make you think he has a really polarized range. Like his hand is like either the nuts or nothing.
Right, I mean,
but he actually doesn't.
Conventional wisdom.
So people
most
just
pros in
would-
that spot. Most pros in that spot almost never have a marginal holding when they check back flop and then raise turn.
Right, especially on a wet board, right?
Right.
So he would do this all the time, and like, you know, the first time I played with him, I paid him off like left and right, like, and he was running good.
Right, because
So
you're thinking this guy either has the nuts,
Yeah.
or he's got nothing at all. But if he's got the nuts, how could he possibly check back the nuts
Right.
on a really wet board?
Right. So, and he would always like assume that people are on a draw. Like, so a lot of people would call him on a draw, and then he would check back river, and they would show down their draw and lose. Right. So he would get value from his draws, and also get people to bluff catch him. So yeah, that's. You'll see, like, and he c-bets all his air, though. Like, so he's always, like, betting when he has nothing.
Take a look at the chip counts here. So, very quickly, Gentili with 15 big blinds, Bojang with 19 big blinds, Natasha with 23 big blinds, Dominic Nietzsche, who we're looking at with 46 big blinds, and then, of course, Alan with over 100 big blinds. Obviously, I know you don't play tournaments, so you're thinking, hey, nobody's got any chips.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, you know, anything under 20, obviously, we're getting a little short. Natasha with just 23, and that's why actually Dominic was able to shove deuces there. Because once Alan folds,
Right.
Dominic is actually going to be raising a ton.
Yeah.
He can open almost. He's probably going to be opening.
He's
50%.
just putting a lot of pressure on the other players with short stacks.
Right, because I mean,
so,
there's
yeah.
big pay jumps. I mean, difference between fifth and third is roughly $170,000. So you're talking about huge pay jumps, and he doesn't have to worry about his ICM because once Alan folds,
Yeah.
he's got a perfect seat.
That's part of running good, I guess. Let's see.
So have you guys been able to? So he crushed it early on.
So
Were you
crushed
guys
it early
able
on.
to make some adjustments?
Yeah, so we've all talked about it and adjusted. Basically, whenever this guy puts in a c-bet, we're just raising him a ton. And he overplays. He'll still overplay hands. Once he makes that raise with top pair on the turn, if you put in a 3-bet on the turn, he doesn't fold.
Right.
He's lost his fold button because he thinks he's under-repped his hand.
Right.
And so during that time when he was running good, no one else had a really big
And
hand.
he probably all thinks you guys are young punks who are trying to steal his money.
Right.
I mean, the interesting thing is if we take it full circle back to tournament poker, while that's a problem if he's overplaying hands and not getting away from some good but not great hands when you're 200 big blinds deep, that's a big problem.
Yeah.
But when the effective stack at this table is 42 bigs, not folding top pair really isn't an issue at all.
Isn't a big deal. Yeah.
I mean, he shouldn't be folding top pair really when your opponent's 23 bigs deep or 27 bigs deep.
Yeah. And he's pretty aggressive for an old guy. He likes 3-bet squeezing in spots. If it's open call, he has a huge 3-bet squeeze button, which
For an
I think
old guy. He's 48, dude.
for an older guy. Sorry.
He's
this guy,
48. I was looking at him going, this doesn't look like an old guy. I'm like, he's 48 years old. He doesn't have,
sorry, look at everyone else at the table. They
He
look
doesn't
like
even
they
have
just
gray
graduated
hair.
high school.
an old guy.
An older business guy.
An older businessman. Okay, right.
Yes.
I understand. I mean, I understand how the pros, when somebody walks in and you see a guy and you go, okay, he's not a pro, he's an older businessman, you're licking your chops, you're salivating, and then boom, he hands it to you.
Yeah. He destroyed everyone. I think, in that 2-week period, I think he won, I want to say $150,000 to $200,000.
Wow. You know what? It's interesting. We've had a couple of players have surprised people. Hung Lee was most notably one of those guys. Hung Lee from Vietnam, lives in Dayton, Ohio with his 5 children. He's married. Came out here. He played the 888.
Okay.
Doesn't really play tournaments. He plays some cash games, smaller cash games in the Dayton, Ohio area. A couple of his buddies said, play the tournament. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing. They go play a couple of sit and goes and learn.
Right.
So he played 4 sit and goes. He jumped in the 888. He final tables it.
Wow.
And he ended up winning it. Now, at the final table, his style was so unconventional, so unorthodox, that he was throwing everybody off.
Right. What was he doing?
You'd almost have to watch it. He was playing completely straightforward forever, and then suddenly he would put a continuation bet out with Queen Jack on a flop that had nothing, and then he'd check it when his opponent floated, and then check raised. Check raised the turn with absolutely nothing, no equity, absolutely just nothing.
Awesome.
He made some crazy calls. Ace King and Ace King here. You assume the chips are going to go all in here, and in all likelihood it will be chopped up. Alan is a slight favorite as he has 2 suits to Bojang's 1 suit. But
see, that's the funny thing.
Wow, you just called this.
You look at Alan, he plays really backwards. This is pretty standard for Alan. I wouldn't be surprised. He does this in a cash game a lot.
This is such an easy 3-bet spot, too. But it's but like I said, so this guy Hung Lee, though, he did some really weird things. The hand where he ended up winning ended up calling off with deuces on it was on
so he heroed and
it was King 10, 8, 6, 3 diamond board, and he has 2 black deuces.
Nice.
And he got check raised. He got check raised all in on the turn, and he called it off with 2 black deuces, and he won the tournament. But the thing I was trying to say here, big flop for Dominic, who is open ended, and right now you can see the percentages are 0-0 because Bojang and Alan can't win the pot unless the other person folds. They would chop it up. You can see it's actually split 76% of the time.
It checked through? Oh,
It
he's
checked
in
through.
the big blind, sorry.
Yeah.
I just checked back to the... I'm surprised, Alan. See, Alan is just so backwards in his play.
But sometimes it's
Like
really
he'll-
hard to, like you said, so
So
he
you
was
don't make
up-
the adjustment.
The guy was up,
Yeah.
like that's what I'm saying. You mentioned, so the guy is up $150,000, $200,000 playing in a 25-50 game,
Yeah.
10, 25-50 game over, a month.
Yeah.
It took you guys a while to make
adju-
that
to-
adjustment.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine you're playing a tournament with this guy where you might see 40 hands with him,
Yeah.
50 hands, and you don't even see that many hands go to showdown.
Yeah.
So
No,
you're just
he'll
left
destroy.
baffled.
Yeah, he'll destroy people who haven't played with him before, just because they won't know. They'll have no idea.
Dominic bets 400,000. Alan, I'm thinking about it.
Watch, he's gonna put in a check raise. Maybe there's a very decent percentage chance that he puts in a check raise here.
Yeah.
Just yeah.
Don't 3-bet it free and just play it like that.
He just went all in, huh?
He just moved all in.
Yeah, see, like he does shit like that. Oh, can I say that on?
It's a family show, so if you can
sorry.
avoid, it's not the worst thing in the world, but
Sorry.
if you can avoid it, it's good.
Yeah, he just does stuff like this. This is like so Alan. Like,
That's okay.
yeah.
Like
This
you weren't
is
surprised at
check
all.
back. No, because this is exactly. So he'll
But
do this on the turn. He'll do it as a bluff and for value, but
Right, he could have had, but he could
Yeah.
have had King Queen there too.
right. He could have king
So
queen.
you think, like, you could have a hand like, let's say he had Queen Jack there, and he thinks, okay, this guy's so polarized.
Right.
Queen, he's either got the nuts. Queen Jack is is technically a bluff catcher, but the guy's got the nuts or nothing. No, he
Right.
could have King Queen.
Yeah.
Wow,
So the
that's pretty
secret
sick.
to him is that he doesn't have a high river bluffing frequency. But here it doesn't matter because you're just all in on the turn.
never get to the
Yeah, he
river.
never gets to the river, but in a deep stack cash game, he'll like raise the turn a lot and then check back rivers.
Right.
Like
I
his
can-
river bluffing frequency is low.
But I can understand that. By the way, if you want to join the conversation, you can. You can tweet us at Tuck on Sports. You can also tweet us at WSOP if you have any questions for Conlon or myself. But I guess my point is, at the end of the day, in a tournament, and I see a lot of guys, a lot of inexperienced or unconventional players, whatever you want to call them, unorthodox. They don't, they don't play inside a box theoretically. They are able to do really well because they baffle amateurs, and they also baffle the pros because
Yeah.
the way they're playing doesn't make sense to the pro because this is not how the pro thinks.
Right.
And in fact, I did a podcast a while ago, and I did a training video once where my thing was the title of it was "Stop thinking your opponent thinks about poker like you do."
Right.
And that's the case. A lot of times we play against guys and we assume that they think about poker the way
Right.
the same way we do.
Yeah.
And it's so not true.
Yeah, my wife was she's been railing on me, going like, dude, when you play a 5-5 cat, because I'll play with her at 5-5 too.
Right.
And then she'll be like, just stop thinking that people think about the game the same way. You're like, you don't need to bluff catch. You don't need to do this. They were not like exploiting you this way, or they're not playing this way. So.
And it's hard sometimes. I had this conversation with Doug Polk as well because we went through it, and it was just one of those situations where I tried to explain to him once. I was like, but on this game, I go, players just aren't balanced.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, buddy. And he was like, yeah, but sometimes you can't assume. Sometimes if we make assumptions, we can get ourselves into a trap. And I
Right.
understand what he was saying in that because I think it's true. Sometimes our assumptions will fail us.
Right.
But it's really interesting. I just think, ooh, Gentili picks up aces. I don't know. I think Dominic's probably going to end up calling this off. Gentili doesn't have many chips. That's about 500,000, 1.2, maybe 1. He's actually got about 17 bigs.
So I assume he's just gonna flat this, right? Since he's so short.
He might put a small little raise in there. I see it.
Like I would assume you would flat this short, right? Or do you just
No.
care about, in a tournament? Do you just want to like protect your stack that way?
Yeah, and there's huge ICM implications. Now, he ended up just flatting, so
Okay.
he is looking to win a big pot here. The problem is a lot of these flops are going to go check.
Yeah.
And frankly, there are a lot of times when you have button versus small blind in a tournament, Dominic's going to call off really light, but he might, let's say Dominic had sevens. He's calling the all-in.
Right.
But now he can get away from it. And he's going to check back. He's got ace high. He's got showdown value. Now he's got a pair of nines. Now the board gets a little bit
Is it
scarier.
really so in this spot? Like Gentili's gonna be 3-betting a lot as a bluff, right? To try and like get Dominic to fold with the short stack, like with
my
some
guess
ace
is he's
highs?
actually my guess is he's not actually 3-betting with a bluff very often at all because of the ICM.
Oh, because
I think he's actually 3-betting with almost all of his value range except aces.
okay.
My guess is that he's incredibly, and look, and Dominic
Yeah,
just
because
lets it go. My guess is that he's incredibly unbalanced with his 3-betting range from the small blind there.
okay, because of the
which is-
ICM concerns.
Because of the ICM concerns, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. I would assume so. I think at final tables in general, players are less balanced for the most part. It's not always the case, but for the most part, I think that players are probably less balanced than they normally would be at a final table, and then magnify that probably by 2 times because it's a World Series of Poker final table, and you've got these enormous pay jumps.
Right.
And of course, you're playing for a bracelet. I mean, I could be totally wrong. He could pull off with like ace-7,
Right.
but I don't even know if he thinks it's a bluff as much as like, against Dominic's opening range of the button. Ace-7 is probably the best hand a lot of the time.
Right.
But he's just going to shove all in and just get it over with. But I think he does that with ace-jack, ace-queen. I think he probably does that with ace-kings. I think he probably does it. Maybe he doesn't do it with kings.
Right.
But I think he does it with like
Everything
queens
else,
through
yeah.
5s.
Okay. So basically, hands that need protection. He's just
Right.
gonna.
I mean, frankly, I think flatting in the small blind is actually. And maybe he's flatting in the small blind with like hands like queen jack suited.
Okay.
King jack, hands
Right.
like that. I maybe.
It
I don't-
seems
I mean,
like he would
obviously I
just
don't
play
know
a
him.
3-bet fold with a stack that short, but I guess with ICM concern.
Yeah.
Because like, if Dominique is paying any attention, he knows that once he's, this guy's flattening the small blind, he's just got a huge hand, right?
Well, we don't know. I mean, keep it in mind though. We're watching. We can see the
Right.
cards. Players
Yeah.
at the table can't see the cards. Now, there's a good chance that these guys played a long while yesterday together. So Dominic might know this player, might know a lot more about this player than we do.
Right.
So he might know, okay, flats the small blind, he's got a monster. Who
Right.
knows? I mean, we've seen 13 hands. This is hand 14. So, our sample size is so ridiculously small. I think jumping to any conclusions based on that one hand is somewhat naive. But it's just one of the reasons why. It's one of the reasons why I'm not. It's kind of interesting. Flatting with aces there seems so good because you're like, oh, I can trap my opponent. The problem is, like I said, I just feel like a lot of what Dominic has there, he might fold some, and he is opening really wide on the button, so you are going to get a ton of folds. But I might click it back, make a smaller where he's getting such a good price he can't fold. Queen 7 here. Allen with 2 pair. This is blind on blind.
So did Bojang raise pre, or was it just
No, this is
complete
just
the blind?
the blinds
He
are 5100. This was limped
completed
in.
the blind.
Yeah, limped in,
and
and then we're here. Do check back. He checks it again. I assume Allen's never folding this, right?
No. I think
If Bojang were to
he's
bet.
a little bit of a station too, so
Right.
I'd be surprised if he folded, unless he thinks Bojang's really tight. Yeah, he's not. Allen is not a thin value better either.
Right. So I see. So he's actually not that polarized when he's raising on the turn,
Yeah.
but on the river he's very polarized. Actually, he's not
Yeah.
polarized at all because you say he doesn't really bluff.
Yeah.
He just has it.
He just has it most of the time. I mean, he does bluff, but his bluffing frequency goes way down. Like, his bluffing frequency is the highest on the turn.
Mike Carlson asking who's in the booth with me. It is Conlon Ma. Conlon, what's your Twitter account again?
It's at Lindy Hopper, LINDYHPPR.
There you go. Our short stack is 19 big blinds. Our big stack well over 100. We are 5-handed. All these players guaranteed $180,000. Our next pay jump is 248, so a $68,000 difference between 5th and 4th, which is a lot of money. Maybe not for big guys like you, but
That's still a lot of money. I'm just licking my chops, hoping he wins this and he comes back to the Matrix. Like my friend Dan, who also plays at Matrix, is like out there and he's like, yeah, we just can't wait till he wins this thing.
Natasha raising in the cutoff with ace-8 suited. Bojang picks up jacks. Bojang's like a cashing machine, by the way. He cashes like 10 events a year. It's crazy.
Okay. So he's a professional.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I believe 3 of the 5 players are professionals. I don't know about Michael Gentile. Gentile, of course, has had a great year. He won a circuit event up in Montreal, won $96,000 in Niagara Falls. He's a 23-year-old self-employed man. So
Okay.
maybe he's a pro.
It.
I don't know. Bojang's all in. Bojang's a pretty tight player, too.
Yeah.
I think this is a pretty easy fold for Natasha.
And Natasha fold. Double take down the bump.
See, I would think the main event, especially the first 3 days of the main event,
Right, is
favors
like
fast cash game players so much that I'm surprised you don't play in it.
Yeah, but if I think about it, like I'm buying in for $10,000. I have to play for 3 days in a cash game where I don't really make any money, and then I play the 4th day and I have to
But
like
then the
make the
exponential money you could theoretically make. And I will tell you, wholeheartedly, it is more fun playing the main event here at the World Series of Poker. For those of you at home, if it's on your bucket list, just make sure you do it somehow, some way. Play in your home game, and or get staked. You can go on ustake.com. Do whatever you have to do. Play it once in your life. It is so much fun.
Yeah, I definitely want to. I definitely want to play it one time, but right now it's like I'm raising money for our startup. So
right, of course.
Yeah, actually, my friend Tang is playing it, and I took half his action. So
okay.
It'll be.
Conlon, by the way, is a businessman as well as a poker player. Do you ever consider yourself a professional poker player?
No.
No.
No, I want to try not to consider
not
myself.
To be right.
I want to have that label of, hey, I play this game for fun.
I just win when I.
I just win. Hopefully, that way I can get invited to these like private games, which I think is where most of the real like big money is.
I actually think there's a fine line between people that consider themselves professionals and then people that consider themselves amateurs. There are a lot of quote unquote amateurs that are much better than people that I know that consider themselves pros.
Yeah. I mean, I think professional just means that I derive most of my income and I live off this income. Like, that's how I think about someone who's a professional. But, yeah, definitely there's people who are doing it on, as a side income that are a lot better.
So how often does Alan play in your game? By the way, Josh
he actually is from China.
Josh Knight says, great stories. We want more.
So he actually comes in maybe like once every, I would say 4 months or so.
Once every 4 months?
Yeah, he'll come in.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. He shows up at the casino. He plays for about 2 weeks, and then he leaves, and he goes back to like China.
Okay.
So.
Oh, so he doesn't actually. Okay, so he has business in.
He has business in the Bay Area.
In Northern California.
Yeah.
But he still does live in China.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I know you have a lot of connections to China, and you go back there occasionally, and you have friends from there. Gentile all in with 4s. See, I mean, this is what I was pointing out. See, he moves all in with 4s.
Right, but he calls aces.
And he calls with aces. Like I said, I think my guess is, and I don't know, my guess is he's incredibly unbalanced.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's exploitable, though, except the fact that when he flats, flags have to be raised.
Right. It depends. Wouldn't it, like in a cash game, I would think like my flatting range would also depend on how often like Alan is making a squeeze there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's obviously a lot of what you're going to do is player dependent. But keep in mind in a tournament as opposed to a cash game, like you said, you played with this guy for 2 weeks, then you played with him for a month or so. It took you a while to kind of figure out, okay, what is this guy doing?
Yeah.
You don't get that luxury in a tournament. A lot of times.
Yeah, you have to see showdowns, or you have to see.
Oh,
this.
wow, do calls.
Nice.
Alan makes the call here, and this is kind of what I was getting at. Sometimes you get these really weird calls when somebody shoves. And if Gentile just flats out of the small blind, the flop is probably going to come off and miss. Alan looking for an ace. That is not an ace. Ooh, or a 10.
Counterfeit, right?
An ace or a 10. That's such an ugly way to get knocked out. Yeah. The only way worse would be running 7s.
Let's take a look at a turn card. Turn is a deuce of 5.
Deuce is a really good card because anything over a 4 would have been more outs for Alan Dew. River.
Wow. Almost.
And look at Alan. Alan's smiling. I think he enjoyed it.
Full 4. 3 sevens on the board. Giving Michael a full house with 4.
And we continue to toil about. But yeah, in a tournament, I think we are forced, and it might sound awful to some of the viewers, we're forced to profile. we're forced to stereotype. As poker
Right.
players, that's what we do. You sit down, and you do it as well, I'm sure, in cash games. But in a cash game, you have the luxury of playing with somebody for hours upon hours, and maybe multiple days and even multiple weeks,
Right.
where you can start taking the profile and the stereotype and stop judging a book by its cover and actually get information about how he plays. In a tournament, we very rarely get that luxury.
Yeah, and you don't see showdowns as much, right? Because a lot of the action happens pre-flop and
Yeah,
like c-bet on the flop and then fold. Is that
And
a
frankly,
scene?
even if even if I played with a guy for a couple of hours in a tournament, how much information are you really going to get? I mean, how many times in 2 hours is my opponent going to get the showdown? So, like, okay, maybe I see 3 of his hands.
Yeah, but I think what's telling is like how often is he like 3-betting when he gets a chance? Like how often is he like raising pre-flop, and like you can kind of figure out what he's doing a little bit.
Jesse Sylvia pointed out there was a player when he was playing in the World Series of Poker Europe. He said there was an older gentleman who was at the table, and it was weird because he said every single time, like in his head, he'd go, "Wow, this is a really good time to 3-bet," or "This is a great time to 4-bet."
Yeah.
The older gentleman did it, like, and Jesse Sylvia just kept underestimating the gentleman, thinking, "Wow, I guess he just." What a coincidence. Every single time it's a really good spot to 3-bet or 4-bet, he has it.
Yeah.
Right? Until day 3 of the tournament when the guy was a really good spot to 4-bet. He 4-bet, and then there was a short stack behind him that woke up with a hand, and he found himself pot committed.
Right.
And he turned over like 6-4 suited.
Actually, I did that last week. I was playing with this guy at 10, 25, 50, and it was this older guy, right? He was like 65 years old. He was doing the same thing, right? He was like beep-pipping a lot and then like making these weird check raises and doing these like strange things where like you would give an older guy credit.
Right.
But, you know, once he showed down a couple hands, you're like, oh my God, this guy.
Well, that's the danger of assuming. A lot of times, we assume. I told my dad, I go, if my dad were to come out here, I said, Dad, you realize that if you could just 4-bet once an hour, just once an hour, like when you see a guy who opens a lot and then somebody else, and another good player 3-bets, Dad, if you look down and you have any ace, I don't care, or any king, just shove all in. Just go all in. They'll believe you. You might even get in the fold queens.
Yeah. Totally.
And you believe that Natasha's all in for 16 and a half big blinds. Blinds are 50,000, 100,000.
This was shorter. Let's see if he calls.
He doesn't mind gambling, obviously.
No.
He's still our overwhelming chip leader, by the way. But I think, that's if you understand as a poker player how you are perceived, you know how to take advantage. And Dan Harrington was the king of it back, 20 years ago.
Right.
When he won the main event, and then in 2003 and 2004 when he made the final table back-to-back years, he understood what his image was. And in fact, televised poker actually hurt his image a little bit because they saw him 4-bet bluff with 6-deuce once. But I think that's where sometimes we get into trouble because we do assume that, he's an older gentleman, so he's not capable of making these moves. He always must have it.
Right.
And obviously there are a lot of people out there, Big Store Moore, who's been in the booth a few times, Michael Moore, who he's capable of a lot of tricks up his sleeve. Natasha gets it through. Once again, those orange chips are 5K, green chips are 25K, purple chips are 100K.
You warned the player about conditional statements. He said if anybody goes
You know what else I'll tell you? So I was talking to Jesse Sylvia about this as well. So I think a lot of cash game players, including Jesse, and many cash game players that I know, because I play mostly cash, they kind of dismissed tournaments as like, whatever, it's a luck fest. Those players aren't very good. And the more I commentate on them, and I talked to Jesse because he was the one who actually brought this up, he said the more that I play them and the more I learn about them, I realize that it's just a different skill set. And not necessarily, there's not necessarily one is more difficult than the other. It's just very, very different because, in a tournament, playing your stack and playing your opponent's stack is an ever-changing proposition and something that is so important to be doing.
Right. And I think the temperament of a cash game player is probably also a little bit different than a tournament player. Because you have to be able to take losing most of the time, right? And only cashing, 20% if you're pretty good? Like 20, 30% of the time maybe? Like, I don't know. I expect to win a majority of the time when I play cash. So this would be really tough for me.
couple people pointing out that we might be giving a little too much information about Larry Dew, but
What do you mean giving
just giving a little bit too much. People are watching, obviously. But the one thing that I actually already talked to Conlon about this, Larry switches up his games a lot. So
Alan's.
Alan. Why do I keep calling him Larry? Because Larry's
So
the best.
he switches up his name a lot too.
Yeah, I switched his name up too. Yeah, I actually talked to Conlon about this because we very rarely want to expose a player and their tells and how they play. But one thing that Colin said that this is a guy, like I said, it took him like months of like playing with this guy and hundreds and hundreds of hands to like come up with anything, and that was in deep stack poker. Good luck if you think figuring that out. And I actually feel like if anybody took this information and tried to make adjustments at the table, it might do more harm than good.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Like I have to watch how he's playing now to make like any kind of read right now.
Keep in mind, these players also played together for hours upon hours yesterday.
Okay.
So
this is the same table as.
Well, we started. It was the unofficial final table was 10-handed.
Okay.
So they played together for at least 5 or 6 hours yesterday, and there's a good chance that when they were down to 16, that a lot of these players had played with each other then too. So, but I thank you very much, Reese Jones, and everybody else who has said that. By the way, I think you guys are spot on. I have talked to Conlon about this already, though, and I'm not all that concerned at this particular spot. I feel like, I honestly feel like it might do people more harm than good. Get a call here from the cutoff. Again, very unconventional. With the Jack-Deuce as the chip leader.
He actually likes calling. Like, obviously, he's an amateur player who wants to see flops.
Yeah.
So.
And they tap the table.
Wow. King 10 is usually a raise here, right? Like I would do this in a cash game. I don't know how that translates.
Yeah, I think when people limp in a lot of times in tournaments, they're a little bit wary that are they limping with a monster? How they is his limping range balanced? Who knows?
It wouldn't be surprising that. I'm surprised Alan doesn't.
Yeah,
take
he could be limping in with aces occasionally. He checks it back, and Natasha turns the best of it. Well, she actually had the best pre, was outflopped by Gentili. But now you can see 88% equity.
Small bet.
She's going to bet. But thank you, Reese, and everybody else here.
So do you get a chance to play tournaments, Diff?
You know me, I play about 6 a year, but I will be playing. I am 99.2% chance of playing the main event.
Okay.
It's my favorite event of the entire summer, of the entire year. It's a fantastic tournament. I mean, you start with 300. You start with like 350 big blinds. The levels are 2 hours long. I mean, you could very easily get into day 4 and still have 100 bigs.
Nice. Yeah, I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it next year. Like, we'll let Tang do it this year, and I'll do it next year.
Is your wife, is Ping going to play?
The main event?
Yeah.
No.
What if she binks the ladies' event?
If she binks the ladies' event, I think she'll
then
play.
Then maybe, okay.
Yeah.
I bet if she final tables the ladies' event, she'll jump at that main.
We'll see.
Dominic raising to 225,000. Just a little bit over 2x. And, of course, this is a big difference in cash games and tournaments. In cash games, you're not normally raising just a little bit over 2x. Also, in cash games, it's kind of weird. This is the weirdest thing. So in a tournament, we got an all-in the call here. Bojang just shoved with sixes.
No six.
Dominic Nietzsche with the kings. A big difference, and this is actually kind of confusing, and I've always kind of tried to wrap my head around it. And we'll talk about it right after this hand. See if Bojang catches 6 or a lot of clubs. No clubs out there, so now Bojang drawing dead to a 6. No running outs here. The 6 and only a 6 will save Ismail Bojang. Bojang earns himself $180,000. and we are down to 4.
Wow.
So I wanted to throw this at you because you're a smart guy, and I throw this at all of our audience as well. Kind of like think about this. So in no limit cash, very rarely are you playing with antes.
Right.
You know, occasionally there's antes, but that is certainly not the norm. And in tournaments, in no limit tournaments, obviously there are antes.
Right.
So there's more in the pot. There's more to steal. Yet the open sizes in tournaments
Stay
almost
small.
always smaller than in a cash game.
Right. And I'm guessing that's also due to stack size.
Yeah,
right?
and obviously that's one of the
'Cause people
reasons
are-
why, 60 bigs in a tournament plays a lot bigger than 60 bigs in a cash game because
Yeah,
of the
'cause the
opening
open size
size
are-
and so forth.
yeah.
It's just kind of weird in that sense that, it's one of the reasons why people defend more in the big blind in a tournament, and they probably should,
Right.
than they do in a cash game.
Yeah, because you're getting just amazing pot odds just to call and complete. So
Kyle Julius, Mohsen Sharania walking around here. The tag team event still going on.
she picks up ace king.
Raise to 275,000.
Have you ever thought of tweaking your opening size to making it 2x?
In a cash game?
Yeah, or 2.2x.
I actually
Against the
changed
right
my.
opponents?
I actually pick a. Usually my cash games are like a mixture of really good players and bad players. So I'll pick a sizing when I start my session, and depending on who's in the blinds. But I'll kind of pick a standardized sizing if there's people behind me who are a mixture of pros and
Right.
amateurs. So I don't open up too much information.
Makes sense. Players going to go on a break in about 25 minutes. When they go on a break, we will as well. Once again, Conlon Ma, high-stakes cash game player, plays a lot of no limit. Also does a podcast for CrushLivePoker.com. You can get 1 free month over at Crush Live Poker using the code WSOP16. So we are down to 4. All these players guaranteed about $250,000. 3-bet contest of the day coming up later.
Raise to 225,000.
Michael makes it 225,000 to go. Rush folds.
It's actually pretty funny. I see in the audience there's the pros from our cash game at the Matrix.
Oh, yeah?
Railing him.
They're all cheering him on, huh?
They're sitting behind that enjoy that enjoy sign.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Take a look at the Crush Live Poker prizes. Champion, $800,000 for first. Runner-up is $494,000. Fourth place, of course, $248,000 as we continue to roll along. Vivato saying, get your stats right. Mike Gentile is a stud. 1 million online cashes. Biggest score live was a chop, apparently, in Niagara for 200K. Well, according to the records, it's 95K. But thank you, though. I appreciate the tweet, VA, and the information. Yeah, like I said, I didn't have enough on Gentile to know whether he was a pro or not. But it certainly looked like he might be in the sense that,
He's playing for
he
profit,
binked,
at
well,
least.
he's 23 years old. He binked the circuit event. Then he won money in Niagara Falls, finishing second in the event. So, whether he's a pro or not, obviously he knows how to play the game. Generally speaking, you don't have many 23-year-olds entering a 5K event that don't play. So, you might have some older businessmen, but more often than not, if you see a 23-year-old in a 5K event, they play poker, and probably pretty well.
Wow. So Dominic's going to show down King 10 here, assuming he's going to be good enough. He's got to put in a bluff here, right? So he's just going to show down King 10, hoping it's good.
So we're four-handed. Action on Allen, who had the best hand with ace high, and then Rivers and ace. Dominic might think he has some showdown value here. In the way this hand played out.
Ellen bets 350,000.
He quickly gives it up.
Huh.
I didn't like that card at all.
Those
Actually,
purple
that's
chips are
probably not a
100K.
bad adjustment just to give up against Allen there. Because Allen just, yeah, I think he would just see bet that flop.
9.5 million chips. He came in, he joined with 11.7 million. He did double up Mike Gentile out of LaSalle, Ontario. Once again, Conlon Ma, David Tuckman here for Event 59. Other events going on here at the Rio All-Suite Hotel and Casino. The $3,000 PLO 8 tournament is down to 157 players. John Turner is our chip leader in that. The big one for one drop will start in 28 minutes. You should play that.
What,
on.
the PLO 8 tournament?
Yeah, no, the big one for one drop, the high roller, one drop high roller. Come on, you're a big
Oh,
man.
as my first tournament? Yeah.
Why not?
Does someone want to give me some quick
jump in.
tournament tips before I light 100K on fire?
It's 111,000.
Sorry, $111,000 on fire.
But you're raising money for charity. Come on, Conlon.
True that.
The 25K high roller pot limit Omaha tournament, that is down to 20 players. They will start up again in 27 minutes as well. Ludovic Yelik is our chip leader. The Mizraki brothers, Michael and Robert, are in second and third. And the $1,000 tag team no limit event is down to 7. Little has been eliminated. Doug Polk and Ryan Fee, that team is in first. Sharania and Rettenmeyer are currently in second in that event.
Nice. That's a all-star lineup in that event.
Yeah,
huh?
for a 1K tag team, it's pretty fun. I was rooting for the littles, though. I'm not gonna lie.
He has kings on the button here.
Going back to playing against people that play in an unconventional manner, I think that gives some pros more trouble than they could ever imagine. It's funny. I was talking we had Christopher Chabris in here, and we've heard people say, "Oh, I hate playing against bad players. I'd rather play against good players. I know where they're at."
Right.
Which
makes no sense.
makes no
to me.
sense at all. Right. And he actually went through this. He actually explained it really well. But the thinking, of course, is that you have a little bit of a better idea of how the pro is thinking and where they're at in certain spots and how they might think through a hand. So you can better put them on a range of hands than you can when you're playing, an inexperienced player, somebody who's outside the box.
Sure.
So
I
it's
mean,
kinda
you
funny.
know what the standard response is, right?
Right.
So you don't necessarily know how to adjust per se.
Oh, what a turn card.
Go
Now,
Allen.
Gentile has the king of hearts. It went check, check. Gentile checked back the 6-5-4 two-heart board.
Yeah, that's what I
Didn't think there were very many scare cards except that one. And there. Gentile with 3.9 million, Due with 9.2 million. And he goes check, check once again. Another heart in there? No. Deuce of diamonds out there. So I think over the long run, the inexperienced player, the player who's making some plays that don't make some sense, and that are not optimal over the long run, they are going to probably lose.
Yeah,
but
they're
in the
just going
short
to
term,
cause
there's
you
so much
variance.
variance.
Yeah, they're going to cause you variance, basically. But they're still going to lose money. They just cause you probably more swings than you're, maybe accustomed to.
Right, but in the short term, and especially, and obviously tournaments are very much the short term.
Michael calls into 50,000. Allen shows a ace of clubs.
Betting the call. And Allen Dew takes it down. Back over the 10 million mark. Natasha might have top 3 smile in all of poker. In the
She's
poker
cute.
world.
She's
Jason
Jason's
Mercier's girlfriend, yeah. And I believe Marshmallow is in the stands. Marshmallow has now made 11 final tables.
That's insane.
Pretty crazy. No.
That's crazy.
I'm exaggerating a little bit, but he is here all the time. She, I don't even know, boy or girl, Marshmallow. I assume it's a girl.
I don't know.
I don't even know. I assume it's a girl.
Yeah.
Somebody can let us know. If you want to join the conversation, you can by tweeting us at Tuck on Sports, at WSOP. Again, 3-bet contest of the day will be coming up in a little while.
Have you played any cash?
Players all in.
Honestly,
you've been
I
out
have not had much time to play. Normally, I have a lot more time, but I have not had a ton of time. Natasha all in for 20 bigs, essentially. I have not had a ton of time to play. I've played a little bit here and there. But
I stopped by the the Encore yesterday. The room is super nice there.
yeah, it is nice.
Yeah, they were playing, I think, 100, 200. They had one
jump
game. No, I went. I was so tired last night.
Yeah.
But maybe tonight, I think, if they were running that game, possibly.
We are live from the Rio Wall Street Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. Take a look at your chip counts here. Due back over 100 big blinds. Dominic's done very well. He came in with about 40. He came in with 3.6 million, and he's now up to 5.6. So he's chipped up 2 million chips. Natasha came in with 2.4, so she's chipped down a little bit, but she's laddered up 2 levels already. So she's guaranteed herself $250,000. How long are you in town for?
Just till Sunday. Unless Ping binks, and we'll be here on Monday.
Raise 300,000 total.
Raises 300,000.
Dominic raising from the small blind. Gentili is certainly not going to fold this. Ace, queen of spades. It's a question of whether he decides to trap and just flat, or does he decide to 3-bet this. And I would assume that he 3-bets this.
We raised 800.
Michael re-raises 800,000. We'll take down the 5.
Wow, there he is.
Raised 220.
Allen raised to 200,000 with the 8-4 under the gun. Under the gun, of course, is cut off four-handed, and Dominic probably not looking to get involved too much with the chip leader. Just calls with ace-king. I think he's almost certainly 3-betting one of the other 2 players, but against Allen, he just wants to take as much variance out of it, I think. Dominic's a really good player, just 25 years old. He won a Latin American poker. He won an LAPT. He's won 3 bracelets already. He's very well respected, just relentless. Just one of those, one of the really, really good Germans that have come into the game over the past few years.
As you call, we're going to go to the flop here. 3-way action. Flop brings a 4 of diamonds, 3 of clubs, and
King high flop here. Nothing there for Natasha to get herself in trouble with. Dominic, though, with top pair, top kicker. Larry's got a pair of 4s. And I imagine this will go bet, call, fold.
That's 325,000.
Allen bets 325,000.
Call.
Dominic calls with 325,000. Folds. And the turn card is the
Oh.
8 of clubs on the turn.
Bink.
I mean, this is this could be really, really troublesome for Dominic.
Let's see a check raise here. That's what
This could really be troublesome. I mean, you got ace king on a king 3, 4, 8 board. It's like you got to feel like you've got almost a nuts. I mean, yeah, you could lose to a set, obviously. You're losing to aces, but that's it. I mean, you wouldn't imagine that there are many two-pair combinations in your opponent's range, but we know Larry does have that.
That's 600 total.
I'll make that 600,000.
You bet 600,000 into 1.4 million.
I like his play, actually. I think it's
check
really
raise?
good. Yeah, because like if you think about it, like I don't know if Dominic, if he flats, I don't know in tournaments are they flatting ace deuce ace 5 here, like to c bet? Probably not, right? Because he's right behind with like Natasha still to act.
Yeah.
So he's
I mean,
probably
he
got a
might-
king. He's
yeah, I
probably
mean-
got a king a lot, and he's probably gonna bet that king at
To
some
be honest with
point.
you, I don't even know how often he's calling pre-flop with those hands either.
Yeah. So if he doesn't, then he's probably this is probably a pretty good check raise on his part.
600.
I mean, it's an extremely dry board. I mean, king 3, 4, rainbow. There's not much going on there. So when your opponent does flat you, I kind of feel like either A, he's floating, and I think that's not as likely against Allen,
Right.
chip leader. But he's either floating, and then maybe you can give enough rope to like get an extra bet out of him,
Yeah.
or he actually does have a king here. And if he has a king, and
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of hands that he would flat with, maybe you don't put him on ace king, but I
Like
think
king,
he could
queen,
have king queen, king
king
jack,
jack
suited,
suited, yeah.
king 10 suited, hands like that.
I guess the only problem is in a tournament, do they check back turn for pot control?
He
a
might
lot?
sometimes, yeah, he might
Okay.
sometimes, but I
Because
think
that would
king,
be the only problem with like just checking the turn.
yeah, he
right?
might occasionally. And there's the check raise. And that looks like a check raise to about 1.8 million.
1.7
1.7 million. So it's 1.1 million back over to Dominic. I mean, obviously, you're asking me questions about in a tournament, do they do that?
Right.
It's a player-dependent thing.
Okay.
I mean, I could probably show you a dozen players that do and a dozen players that don't.
Right, because in a high stakes cash game, a lot of people just bet the turn here with like
Right.
king, queen, king, jack. Like,
maybe he's checking back some of his worst kings, but some of his better kings he probably is betting. I mean, ace king he's certainly betting, and there's the call. And this pot now 4.8 million, and you can see here Dominic was just 3.1 million behind. Does Larry move all in? What do you think?
if the river blanks, yeah.
That's not a total blank. I mean, king jack is definitely a hand that is in Dominic's range, but
I still think I think Allen will move in here. He overplays sometimes, so yeah. I mean,
Why not? Two pairs, huge.
2 pairs huge, and yeah.
let's hear him.
Allen declared all in.
You don't have two pairs. You either have a set or you're bluffing. Alright, give me 1 second. Oh, God damn it. Alan, help me out here. Help me out here, Alan. And like, I don't think I've seen you play a strong hand like this at all. That's why I really, really want to. And I also don't think you have King Jack because you wouldn't raise me on the turn. It's not like you. It's not like you. And you can have 5-6. You probably don't play King 8. Right? Okay, I call.
He calls. He calls. He has ace king. He's going to see 8-4. He's going to see the bad news, and very rarely do we get that insight, and somebody like talks out a whole entire thing. But I thought that was so interesting. I wanted to make sure we heard him. And Dominic Nietzsche is out.
Wow.
So by the way, for all you said,
Yeah.
for all that you said about Allen, it certainly didn't help Dominic Nietzsche, who is gone in 4th place. Like I said, it's dangerous when you play against the guy who's who's unconventional, unorthodox.
$40. Let's give him a round of applause.
And as you pointed out, I mean, that's a spot where he could have, he could have picked up some sort of draw on the turn, and he could
Right.
shove, and And, you heard him say, it's like you have 2 pair here, or you don't play king 8.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah,
tough.
Alan is tricky like that.
Tricky.
So, and you just.
By the way,
that probably happened to me.
I was going to say
about a
did
year and a half ago.
Did that exact thing happen to you numerous times over and over
yes.
again?
That night, this happened over and over again. I feel for him right now because I've
You've
been
been
there. Exactly.
Well, we are down to 3-handed. The remaining 3 players all guaranteed $348,000 now. So that was a $100,000 jump up for Natasha and for Michael Gentili. This will be the last hand before break. What a hand there. And by the way, I am an advocate for fast play. I don't like when people tank, except for a situation like that. That is where I will give. I mean, that was a situation where, and in all fairness, Dominic actually did not take that long to call. But that's a situation where
that was for his tournament life,
in a very tough spot, legitimately trying to think a hand through, even asked his opponent, give me something, help me out, trying to figure it all out. But Natasha tries to limp in. Alan says, I will have none of that. I'm all in. And the man, the myth, the legend, Alan Dew, just running this table over. Absolutely like a train.
Beast.
Conlon Ma, David Tuckman in the booth here for the 47th Annual World Series of Poker. We're going to get some highlights from the play earlier when we leave you here for 15 minutes. Back for more action then.
To heat things up at playwsop.com.
I get lost in the action at playwsop.com.
I'm learning how to play poker at playwsop.com. I like to play free poker at playwsop.com.
Start having fun today at playwsop.com. Join today and get 15,000 chips to start your bankroll plus free chips every 4 hours. Don't miss our daily promotions and contests. That's playwsop.com.
Do you want to learn what it takes to be a big winner at live poker games? Have a look at some of this content from crushlivepoker.com. So after Schwartz checks back the turn on the 3rd spade and Ellie checks again, he makes a nice value bet here, not scared of the flush, thinks he's going to get paid off by a 10, and wins that bit of extra money, which is key in cash games.
Seeing Jonathan playing poker, so I am going to start this interview with him, but I'm going to focus on somebody who's more important for this interview for me. Hi, Jonathan.
Hello.
Unfortunately, out of the tag team with your parents.
Yeah, we didn't really have many chips. I was on the short stack all of day 2, and we ended up getting it all in. I can't speak. With Ace Jack versus Ace 7, and we lost. So.
What are you going to do? Poker.
That is poker.
Now, Mrs. Little, did you have fun playing this event?
I did have fun playing this event, most especially with my 2 favorite men.
How did you guys decide to tag together?
Well, actually, Rhea and I played like the first 5.5 levels, and we were very fortunate to actually turn it over to Jonathan as chip leaders.
Well, so what happened is the day before the tournament, I saw it on the schedule. My dad was looking for a $1,000 tournament to play. I say, why don't you and my mom play the $1,000 tournament together? And then I was in a tournament, but I busted it. So I said, I'll hop on 2 just in case we run hot.
And you ran pretty hot.
We ran hot, and then now here we are.
Oh, I know. I was really hoping that this is going to go deep, but there's always next year.
We did go deep. We're happy.
You are happy?
We are happy. This is my first final table.
Oh, well, then it's awesome.
First cash, actually.
Actually, yeah.
Well, then we're all super happy. Usually when I interview players, when they bust out at the final table, they're like, oh, I didn't make it.
Well, obviously, we'd rather win, but
There's always next year. Were you guys doing some coaching sessions in the breaks or on the rail, running over and talking about things?
Actually, Jonathan's been coaching me for several years, obviously, and yes.
He's been coaching both of us for, what, 10 years now?
Does this mean that your mom's going to hop straight into the ladies now?
I tried to get her to, but she wants to relax. We have some show tickets for tonight, so I think we're just going to go enjoy Las Vegas.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Congratulations one more time, and hopefully we will see you again in our next event.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Back to you, David.
He does some things that are just like completely unorthodox and like very disruptive if you don't know what he's doing.
Let's get more into that in a second, because we've had that has kind of been an ongoing theme this entire summer. So more on like unorthodox play and how how a professional has to adapt to deal with that. We have Dominic Nietzsche has raised. He might find himself pot committed. He's going to call this a 10-8 suited, and he's got live cards, so he's got to be pretty happy with the result. Gurza all in for 620,000. Blinds are 40-80. You can see that in the bottom right corner of your screen. You can see the pot size in the bottom right corner. You can see the hand number. Bottom left corner, you can see what players, what country they're from, and obviously how often they will win the hand when it goes to showdown. Gurza, a 3-2 favorite.
How deep are these players, like, typically?
No, they're not. And these guys, I mean, Gurza is not deep at all. I mean, he was all in for 8 bigs.
Okay. I mean, just for reference, when I play a cash game, usually I'm like at least 100 to 400 bigs deep. Wow.
What a flop, huh?
That's
I mean, all in pre, and this is the flop. Wow. And that's it.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
Dominic Nietzsche. Well, at least you didn't have to wait for the river.
Yeah, this guy runs good, I heard.
Yeah. He's a really good player, and yes, he runs good. He hits it twice.
Pretty good.
He hits it twice. Dominic Nietzsche has eliminated Marius Gurza in 6th place.
When German players, you can know always there's a 7.
One suit. But
see, that's the funny thing.
Wow,
like,
he just called this.
You look at Allen; he plays like really backwards. Like this is pretty standard for Allen. Like I wouldn't be surprised. He does this in a cash game a lot.
This is such an easy 3-bet spot too. But it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, but like I said, so this guy hung lead though. He did some really weird things. The hand where he ended up winning ended up calling off with deuces on like it was on like.
So he heroed and.
Oh, it was like King 10, 8, 6, 3 diamond board, and he has 2 black deuces.
Nice.
And he got check raised. He got check raised all in on the turn, and he called it off with 2 black deuces, and he won the tournament. But the thing I was trying to say here, well, a big flop for Dominic, who is open ended, and right now you can see the percentages are 0-0 because Bojang and Allen can't win the pot unless the other person folds. They would chop it up. You can see it's actually split 76% of the time.
It checked through? Oh,
It
he's
checked
in
through.
the big blind, sorry.
Yeah.
I just checked back to the... I'm surprised, Allen. See, Allen is just so backwards in his play.
But sometimes it's really hard to, like you said, so he
you
was
don't make
up-
the adjustment.
The guy was up,
Yeah.
like that's what I'm saying. You mentioned, so the guy is up $150,000, $200,000 playing in a 25-50 game,
Yeah.
a 10-25-50 game over, a month.
Yeah.
It took you guys a while to make that
to-
adjustment.
yeah, exactly.
Imagine you're playing a tournament with this guy where you might see 40 hands with him,
Yeah.
50 hands, and you don't even see that many hands go to showdown.
Yeah.
So
he'll
you're just left
destroy.
baffled.
Yeah, he'll destroy people who haven't played with him before, just because they won't know. They'll have no idea.
Dominic bets 400,000. Alan, I'm thinking about it.
Watch, he's gonna put in a check raise. Maybe there's a very decent percentage chance that he puts in a check raise here.
Yeah.
Just yeah.
Don't 3-bet it free and just play it like that.
He just went all in, huh?
He just moved all in.
Yeah, see? Like, he does shit like that. Oh, can I say that?
It's a family show, so if you can avoid it's not the worst thing in the world, but if you can avoid it, it's good.
Yeah, he just does stuff like this. This is like so Allen. Like,
That's not, okay.
Yeah,
Like you weren't surprised at all.
Check back. No, because this is exactly. So he'll do this on the turn. He'll do it as a bluff and for value. But
right, he could have had King Queen there too.
Right, he could have King Queen.
So you think you could have a hand like, let's say he had Queen Jack there and he thinks, okay, this guy's so polarized.
Right.
He's either got the nuts. Queen Jack is
technically a bluff catcher, but the guy's got the nuts or nothing. No, he
Right.
could have king queen.
Yeah.
Wow,
so the
that's pretty
secret
sick.
to him is that he doesn't have a
The flop is probably going to come off and miss. Allen looking for
an
ace. That is not an ace. Ooh,
Oh,
or
he
a
could-
10.
he could counterfeit, right?
An ace or a
Yeah.
10. That's such an ugly way to get knocked out. The only way worse would be running sevens.
Let's take a look at a turn card. Turn is a deuce of diamonds.
Deuce is a really good card because anything over a 4 would have been more outs for Allen Dew. River.
Wow. Almost.
And look at Allen. Allen's
Yeah.
smiling. I think he enjoyed it.
Full four. 3 sevens on the board. Giving Michael a full house with 4.
And we continue to toil about. But yeah, in a tournament, I think we are forced, and it might sound awful to some of the viewers, we're forced to profile.
Mm-hmm.
We're forced to stereotype. This is the weirdest thing. So in a tournament, oh, we got an all in the call here. Bojang just shoved the 6s.
No six. A pair of 6s.
Dominic Nietzsche with the kings. A big difference, and this is actually kind of confusing, and I've always kind of tried to wrap my head around it.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about it right after this hand. See if Bojang catches 6 or a lot of clubs. No clubs out there, so now Bojang drawing dead to a 6. No running outs here. The 6 and only a 6 will save Ishmael Bojang. Bojang earns himself $180,000, and we are down to 4.
Wow.
So I wanted to throw this at you because you're a smart guy, and I throw this at all of our audience as well. Kind of like think about this.
Mm-hmm.
So in no limit cash, very rarely are you playing with antes.
Right.
You know, occasionally there's antes, but that is certainly not the norm.
Mm-hmm.
And in tournaments, in no limit tournaments, obviously there are antes.
Right.
So there's more in the pot. There's more to steal.
Mm-hmm.
Yet the open sizes in tournaments
Stay
almost
small.
always smaller than in a cash game.
Right. And I'm guessing that's also due to stack sizes.
Yeah,
right?
and obviously that's one of the
People
reasons
are-
why 60 bigs in a tournament plays a lot bigger than 60
Right.
bigs in a cash game because
Yeah,
of the
'cause the
opening
open size
size
are-
and so forth.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like either A, he's floating, and I think that's not as likely against Allen,
Right.
chip leader. But he's either floating, and then maybe you can give enough rope to get an extra bet out of him,
Yeah.
or he actually does have a king here. And if he has a king, and
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of hands that he would flat with, maybe you don't put him on ace king, but I
Like
think
king
he could
queen,
have king queen, king
king
jack,
jack
suited,
suited, yeah.
king 10 suited, hands like that.
I guess the only problem is in a tournament, do they check back turn for pot control?
He
a
might
lot?
sometimes, yeah, he might
Okay.
sometimes, but I think
Because that would
king,
be the only problem with just checking the turn.
yeah,
right?
he might occasionally. And there's the check raise, and that looks like a check raise to about 1.8 million. 1.7 million. So it's 1.1 million back over to Dominic. I mean, obviously, you're asking me questions about in a tournament, do they do that?
Right.
It's a player-dependent thing. I mean,
Okay.
I could probably show you a dozen players that do and a dozen players that don't.
Right, because in a high-stakes cash game, a lot of people just bet the turn here with
Right.
king queen, king jack.
Maybe he's checking back some of his worst kings, but some of his better kings he probably is betting. I mean, ace king he's certainly betting, and there's the call. And this pot now 4.8 million, and you can see here Dominic was just 3.1 million behind. Does Larry move all in? What do you think?
If the river blanks, yeah.
That's not a total blank. I mean, king jack is definitely a hand that is in Dominic's range, but
I still think Allen will move in here. He overplays sometimes, so yeah. I mean,
Well, two pairs, huge.
2 pairs huge, and yeah.
Let's hear him.
Allen declared all in.
You don't have 2 pairs. You either have a set or you're bluffing. It's just a joke. All right, give me 1 second. Oh, God damn it. Alan, help me out here. Help me out here, Alan. And like, I don't think I've seen you play a strong hand like this at all. That's why I really, really want to. You know, and I also don't think you have King Jack because you wouldn't raise me on the turn. It's not like you. It's not like you. You can have 5-6. You don't play King 8. Right? Okay, I call.
He calls. He calls. He has ace king. He's going to see 8-4. He's going to see the bad news, and you know, very rarely do we get that insight, and somebody like talks out a whole entire thing. But I thought that was so interesting. I wanted to make sure we heard him. And Dominic Nietzsche is out.
Wow.
So by the way, for all you said, for all that you said about Alan, it certainly didn't help Dominic Nietzsche, who is gone in 4th place.
Great. I'm actually at the final table of the 1K while regging the 1-drop. So going to be in and out of both events today.
Double dipping over here.
Yeah. I actually think, and I could be wrong here, but I might be the first person to ever win a bracelet while not playing the tournament. Can anyone say they did that? I don't think so. So I'm looking forward to it.
And then you will get 2 bracelets because you and Ryan will get a bracelet each, and then you also get a bracelet for the 1-drop. You could potentially just bring 3 bracelets in one weekend.
Wow. I didn't think of that. And actually, we have half the chips in play in the 1K, maybe 40%. So I think we're maybe just a little more likely to win that one than the 1-drop. But I appreciate your confidence. That's great.
Now 1-drop's back. What did you do to prepare?
So I put in the range work, went deep in the lab, and played the 1K tag team. Other than that, same thing. Just same old day to day. Take it easy. And I think actually this year it's been a little different for me because in general I've played like pretty schedules during the summer, and this year I was like, all right, I'm gonna take it easy, just play the occasional event that I want to play. And there was a 5K a couple of days ago that was amazing, but I was like, you know what? I want to focus on the tournaments that are really the high value and not just like grind the full schedule. I don't know how these guys do it. Like tournaments are grueling. Like Jason Les, no idea how he does that.
He's such a grinder these days.
He wants it, he's like, I just love the life, I love tournaments. So I'm not like that. I need a little rest. I need, food and have a life and stuff. So
So you're trying to say he's just a robot?
During the summer, he's a robot. And there's actually a lot of guys that do that. Totally respect that. Takes a lot of heart, but I just can't do that. It's so tiring,
Now, we have seen Marshy at the 5K final table. Are we going to see Binks too? I see that you are wearing Lucky Binks Feet shirt.
Lucky Binks Feet. I'm not sure if Binks is stopping by. You did say you had some treats, so I'll let him know. Maybe he'll show up, But he is an ESA, so he could, if he so chose to, come to the tournament.
Rio is a pet-friendly hotel. I don't know about the Amazon room. We're going to find out about that. Thank you very much, and good luck in both of your tournaments, and hopefully you bink all your 3 bracelets this weekend.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And if you want to follow me, add me on Snapchat, guys, WCG Rider.
Had to just squeeze that one in there. Back to you, David.
We are back, and wow, we are back right away. Picking up the action here, so we got a raise from Larry. Alan, I just messing with you guys. Now, I for some reason, his actual name is Udo, and he told me that he likes to be called, he goes by Alan. And I kept calling him Larry during the first level. So, my apologies to Alan Do. But thank you for all the tweets that are calling me out on that. I like getting called out. Alan's not going to fold this, is he? We're 3-handed. I mean, at this point, Natasha probably thinks she's good, and that maybe Alan is considering this with, a tiny pair, or maybe, King Jack, or maybe Ace Deuce. Jason Mercier, Kyle Julius watching on.
Yeah, call.
No 5, ace 10, ace 5.
Dew makes the call, and you can see Natasha up against it here. If she loses this hand, she will be out.
And let's take a look at the flop here.
She's got some chop outs here. You'll see in the bottom right corner of your screen, it'll be split 26% of the time. She's looking for a club, a 5, or a 7. She picks up a gut shot, but it's no good, as due as the 10 in his hand. Needs the board to pair or a 5, and it does not happen. And Natasha Barbour has taken home $348,000. What a performance by her. There's Marshmallow. Jason standing over there to greet his girlfriend. And suddenly everything seems very insignificant. How lucky we are to be able to share that moment with them.
Not official yet, but we will be checking here.
What a moment there.
She said yes.
Natasha finishes in 3rd place. And apparently said yes. Congratulations to the lucky couple. Never has somebody been so happy to get knocked out of a tournament. Can you imagine how big the rock would be if she had won?
Still working on any of
Well, it's moments like these that really put things in perspective. Congratulations to Natasha and Jason, a beautiful couple.
Let's give a round of applause to our happy couple here.
I help you again. Yeah, you've been helping me a lot today.
And before we jump back into heads-up play, we do have an interview lined up with the lucky couple.
I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. It wasn't a bracelet, but it was something way better.
Yeah, I didn't expect it at all.
Jason.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I got the idea, actually, like, I thought that I was going to do it if I won a 3rd bracelet. But then, you know, when she went deep, she went like somewhat deep in the shootout, and I thought there was a good chance she was going to make the final table. So I was like, wow, if she wins a bracelet, I'll do it. And then after yesterday's events, I was just like, you know what, the fact that she made the final 6, I think she's going to be happy no matter where she finishes. So I thought that it would be like a really nice cherry on top to do the proposal then.
Were you even suspecting?
No, I was saying goodbye to my opponents and good luck, and he was like, I need to tell you something. I was like, yeah, let's go on the side.
I said I need to ask you something, not tell you something.
And you're like, yeah, let's go to the payout, and you're gonna ask me.
Let me get my money.
Well, your ring is beautiful. I don't know if we can we zoom into the ring? I don't know if we can. Maybe we'll pop in a picture, but it is beautiful. Congratulations to you on your third. Congratulations on your summer. Congratulations on everything, and have a wonderful life. Thank you. Back to Dave. Back to you, David.
Wow, what a story there. Back to poker. Alan Dew with the lion's share of the chips, as you can see, against Michael Gentili.
Call 250.
Alan just calls with tens. Michael picks up a pair of deuces here. This will be a really interesting heads-up match. We've got a young pro in Michael Gentili with 28 bigs, and then, of course, the businessman, 48-year-old Alan Dew.
Turn card is a 6 of hearts.
About a 5-1 chip advantage for Dew.
Alan checks.
Michael checks it back once again. Michael on the button.
River brings in
And as is always the case in heads-up play, the button is the small blind. Acts first pre-flop, gets to act last post-flop. Wow, what a moment. I've had the privilege of commentating on many final tables and broadcast many different events, but that is my first ever proposal. Fantastic. Once again, if you want to join the conversation, you can by tweeting us at TuckOnSports, at WSOP. 3-bet contest of the day. Very simply, make sure you follow at 3Bet Clothing. Make sure you tweet the answer to at 3Bet Clothing. How many main event entries will there be this year at the World Series of Poker? Once again, how many main event entries will there be at the World Series of Poker? If you want to win some cool 3Bet gear, send that answer over to at 3Bet Clothing. King 8 suited versus Jacks. Blinds now 60,000, 120,000.
Alan just calls.
Alan Dew, the 48-year-old businessman from China, spends time in Northern California, plays a little poker and runs his businesses.
Michael raises to 375,000.
Gentili from LaSalle, Ontario. Just 23 years old. Has one circuit ring. That was this year, actually, in Montreal at the World Series of Poker International Circuit.
And we'll go to a flop here.
Also came in second in a 2,300 No Limit Hold'em event in Niagara Falls.
Flop is a deuce of hearts, jack of clubs, and 3 of spades.
Top set here for Michael. He's just got the board crushed. He's going to check this. Give his opponent just a little bit of rope to hang himself.
Take a look at the turn card here.
See if he takes the bait.
Turn is an 8 of diamonds.
What a turn card for him. That'll get him a little bit of action. As you can see, Dew is drawing dead.
Alan bets 500.
Dew bets 550.
Call. Michael calls the 550,000, and we're going to go take a look at the
Michael just calls.
river brings a
10 of clubs. Obviously, if the river was an 8 or a king, we could have really seen fireworks on the river. Michael's going to check once again, and Dew checks it back. Obviously, I can see the cards. Easy for me to say, but I think I actually kind of like the line that Gentili took. I think you probably need to check raise the turn, though, and build a little bit of a pot. Once Dew bets, I've got to hope that he's got something, you know, whether it's a pair, whether it's an 8, and I've got to hope that maybe he thinks I'm on a draw. The guy does play in an unconventional manner. And I think counting on Dew to put all the chips in, just a little bit ambitious. Like I said, I like checking the flop. I even like checking the turn, but I think you probably have to check raise the turn once Dew bets. Once again, the 3-bet contest of the day. How many main event entries will we have this year at the World Series of Poker? Make sure you tweet your answer to @3betclothing. And make sure you follow @3betclothing on Twitter to be eligible. The World Series of Poker main event 25-seat scramble is on WSOP.com. If you are in Nevada and looking for a cheap way to play the main event this year, WorldSeriesOfPoker.com's 25-seat scramble has you covered. That's right, WSOP.com. Here in Nevada, you can play for real money. Buy in for $200 and play the scramble on July 9th at 3 p.m. Qualifiers running now. Tournament guarantees 25 seats to the 2016 World Series of Poker main event. So go ahead and turn your hundreds into millions. That is tomorrow at 3 p.m. on WSOP.com. Gentili trying to claw his way back into this. Dew raising on the button. Once again, we like to keep the show as interactive as possible. Join the conversation by tweeting me @TuckOnSports. I want to thank Conlon Ma for joining us earlier. I want to apologize to Alan Dew for calling him Larry 84 times. What a day. I mean, the tag team event, such an intriguing final table. And to see that the Littles make the final table, just a great story. The high roller 1-drop started just 20 minutes ago. Day 2 of the 25K PLO. And then, of course, we're watching this final table, and then we watch Jason Mercier propose to Natasha Barber. And she said yes. All sorts of excitement here in the Rio All Suite Hotel and Casino. Gentili's betting for value here. He thinks his jack is good. And look, he flips his cards over very quickly. 9 does play. Back to a 5-1 chip lead for Dew. Once again, I'm David Tuckman. Thanks so much for joining us for event number 59. The plan, by the way, and the schedule being amended on the fly. It looks like we're going to be doing double dipping today. The 1K scramble, the 1K tag team is already down to 4 teams. So I do not believe we're going to pick that up. But we are going to pick up, I believe, the 25K PLO. They only came back with 20 today, and there are a few players in that field that want to play the 1-drop high roller. So I believe the plan is... to do the 25K PLO later this afternoon. once they reach the final table. It could be a late evening start, but if PLO is your thing, make sure you tune into that. Both Michael and Robert Mizrachi have a ton of chips in that one. 20 still remain, by the way, in that field. Actually, now we're down to 18. Carrie Katz, our latest casualty in that event. So they are down to 18 in the 25K PLO. But it could be a while before we reach a final table. Final table is 8-handed there.
He's checking my car. Oh, make sure I'm okay.
Yeah, we're going to be here for a long, it's going to be a long day here at the World Series of Poker. Like I said, we're going to be covering this event, and then in all likelihood, picking up the 25K PLO later. Second time Gentili has flopped a monster. He flopped top set on a Jack-3 deuce board. Here he flops trips on a Jack-9 board. Unfortunately for him, dude just doesn't have much of anything. And it's got to be frustrating when you pick up hands and you're just not getting any action. Gamble Good pointing out, says no mention of us, no mention of us online kids. The 1K online started an hour ago. You are correct. Sorry, that is the Gamble Good tweeting in. The World Series of Poker online event has begun over at WSOP.com. So we are heads up for the bracelet and a cool $306,000. That's the difference between first and second. Bless Monk says, are you kidding? Fee, Polk, Sharania, Rettenmeyer, and no stream, what a bummer. Keep in mind, Polk and Sharania are playing in the one drop. So you're not going to see Polk and Sharania. They're also four-handed, and we're still covering this event. So there's a good chance that by the time this event finishes, that one might be done also. Trust me, we'll show them all if we can.
Andy's going to stay the same. Michael raises to 250,000.
Michael raising to 250. Blinds are 60,000, 120,000. So just raising a little bit over minimum. Minimum raise, of course, being 240,000 or 2x. You can see the ante's 20,000. Blinds are 6120. Do calls.
And we go to a flop here. Flop is a 5 of spades, 7 of clubs.
Interesting flop here. Gentili with the overcard to the board and a gut shot. Do with top pair.
Michael checks. Take a look at the turn here. Turn is a 9 of spades. Putting a pair of 9s on the board.
You can see the chips on the left side of the screen there. Do with 17.3 million behind. Gentili with 3.7 million behind. $540,000 in there.
Alan bets 400,000.
Wow, and Gentili just gives up king high. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, to check it back and then just give it up. King high is going to be the best hand there a lot. I mean, maybe not against this particular player, but I think in a heads-up situation, when I check back king 8 on a 9-7-5 board and the turn is a 9, I'm just not going to fold that quickly. But, you know, give Michael some credit. He made the right fold there. He was obviously picked something up. Once again, thanks so much for spending the whole summer with us. It's been a great summer. July 8th right now. As if Jason's summer wasn't already amazing. Quite possibly will go down as the greatest summer of his life. Unless, of course, he has they have a child that's born in the summer. But just an amazing summer for him. 4 final tables, 2 bracelets, heaps and heaps of money. And I bet it all pales in comparison to having the woman of your dreams say yes to you. You never know what's going to happen at the World Series of Poker. King, king, 9. Due with spades. Gentili with nothing going on, really. I get the feeling that Gentili really wants to play small ball, extend this match as much as he possibly can. He's not terribly short. I mean, keep in mind, we've got 174 big blinds in play. So if Gentili can double up, pick some pots up, we could be here for quite a while. If this tournament, I'll do you guys a favor, because I love you all at home. If this ends quickly and the tag team is still going on, we'll bring it over during a break, and we'll stream that also. And then we'll stream the 25K PLO. Why not? Let's do them all today. But obviously, we're not going to leave this until this one is finished.
Michael raises 250,000. Alan calls 250,000. And we go to a flop here. Flop is a deuce of spades, 5 of spades.
Another flush draw here for Dew. And he's got the best hand.
$175.
Michael, that's 175,000.
So Michael bets 175. I'd like to see how Dew reacts to that. Can't imagine him folding. Just a question of does he call or does he raise? I think with his chip stack.
Raise.
Yeah, I was going to say with his chip stack, it's just really, really hard for him not to be in pretty good shape. I mean, even if Michael has a hand like pocket tens, Dew is a slight dog. I mean, in fact, the only hand that Dew doesn't want to see is like ace deuce of spades. King 10 of spades, something like that. Larger spades are pretty much the only hand you don't want to see. And I just think with that kind of chip stack, you put some pressure on your opponent and you get him to fold hands that might be better right now, but equity-wise aren't as good. And the hand. And Dew does. Poof Meepo tweets in, says, had such a great time watching all the streams this summer already, don't want it to end. Good news is we've archived them all. So you can watch them on WSOP.com/videos. Watch them over and over again if you want to. Obviously, I won't be able to interact with you guys. which I feel like is a good part of the show. Still a few streams left, like I said. 25K PLO, the big one for one drop, and of course the online bracelet, which is going on right now at WSOP.com. Carlos Bryan asking who's in the booth with me. Does it sound like there's two people here? Just me.
Okay. He says he's sometimes having difficulty seeing your cards because you're not in the
Mike asking us to stream the one drop. Unfortunately, we cannot stream the one drop. It would be, we can't do that with hole cards. It would be unfair to show one table's hole cards and not everybody else's. But the one drop final table will be streamed. A couple of you are mentioning that Gentili. Sounds like Jennifer Tilly.
Can you push the cards a little bit forward?
Yeah, I asked Michael how to pronounce his name, and that's what he told me.
Yeah.
Gentili.
Like this? Okay.
I could call him Michael if it's easier. More than a 5-to-1 chip advantage for Alan Dew. Close, but no cigar for Michael. A 3 would have been beautiful for him on that flop. But unfortunately, this will probably just go check, bet, possibly raise or call. But yeah, as you can see, Michael has very little equity, very little chance of winning this hand should it go to showdown.
Alan calls 125,000, and the turn is a 9 of hearts. Check. Alan checks. Michael checks. The river is a jack of diamonds. Pair of jacks on the board. Checks. Check, check. Checks.
Aces and
Alan
jacks.
shows an ace, 7 of clubs. The winner is a pair of aces and jacks on the board.
Alan Dew, with 87% of the chips in play, as you can see, starting to extend his lead, but Michael Gentili stubbornly not giving him away. He's going to make Dew earn him.
Raise to 300,000.
Alan raises to 300,000.
All in.
Michael goes all in.
Get a raise from Dew. Gentili moves all in. How badly does Dew want to gamble?
Ready to enter the bathroom?
Carlos Bryan says, first year watching every final table stream. Poker tournament, poker IQ, plus 22%. Just 22%? I bet you it's more than that, Carlos.
2.7 and 55,000. 2.7 million.
Okay.
55,000.
Duke gives it up.
Alan Cole.
Nice shot, bud.
Continue on heads up. Once again, $306,000 difference between first and second. Other stuff going on here at the World Series. The $3,000 PLO 8 tournament is, they are back at it. Looks like 157 players remain. John Turner in the lead still. Ben Yu with a ton of chips there as well. Joe Hashem, 2005 main event champion also with a top 5 stack.
I took the other
The 25K high roller. Looks like it is down to 16 players. Paul Volpe, Michael Mizrachi, Robert Mizrachi, all still in there, as well as Dan Smith. Yevgeny Timoshenko, our latest elimination.
Alan checks, and we go to a flop here.
This is going to be interesting.
Flop is a deuce of hearts, king of hearts, and the king of diamonds. There are kings on the board. Alan checks.
This is going to be very interesting here. We have never done this before. Of course, the online bracelet is about an hour. When did it start?
The online bracelet started, I think it started at noon.
At noon,
yeah,
okay.
1 o'clock. 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock,
started,
so
yeah.
it's an hour and a half into it.
Yeah, so we're not far into it.
And this is going to be interesting. We have brought Tyler Patterson in, who is a WPT champion and a heck of a poker player.
And a WSOP champion, more importantly. I have a bracelet also.
You do?
Yeah.
What did you win the bracelet in?
PLO 8 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah. I actually totally forgot that. I forgot they even had the PLO.
More relevantly.
Yeah. So, yeah, of course, you've got two-thirds of the Triple Crown.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, really exciting, obviously. And Tyler Patterson, he is actually sitting alongside me. He's going to help us out with commentary a little bit, but at the same time, he is actually playing the online bracelet event. His laptop is in here, and he
right
is, what are you?
Dumb Ram right here.
What's your name?
Dumb Ram.
Dumb Ram.
And we already doubled up today, so we got a good start.
How many chips did you start with?
I start with 15,000.
And you're at 33,833. So we're gonna sweat. We are gonna sweat Dumb Ram, Tyler Patterson, in the WSOP.com bracelet event, as well as watching this. This is gonna be an awesome day.
Sounds fun.
This is gonna be
I don't
sweet.
even know what's going on here. I was at the final table rail sweating the tag team event over here.
Everything's going on, man.
I got some buddies over here, so I was watching James Dempsey, and he's definitely the shortest now, so I'm probably going to get to see him all in. But up here, this is the 5K final table?
This is the 5K final table.
Okay.
We started with 863 players. Dominic Nietzsche finished in 4th. Natasha Barber finished in 3rd, then got engaged.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I saw that. That's amazing.
Pretty awesome.
Unbelievable, yeah.
And now we're heads up. We are heads up for the bracelet. Of course, the tag team is going on. As you mentioned, that was 4-handed last I checked.
Yeah, 4-handed is where they're at now. Yeah, my buddy James Dempsey is very short, 10 big blinds, so he's struggling in there, but they're still,
I've
good
actually
payday already.
played with James. I played with James a few years ago in the main event on day 2. The one drop obviously has started. The online bracelet has started. All sorts of excitement going on here. Action here on the left side of your screen. You can see this was pre-flop. You got a raise from Alan Dew. Gentili called. Flop went check, bet, call. You can see Gentili with just a huge chip deficit.
So if you're just joining us, because I'm just joining this, so
Yes.
this is what I'm hearing right now. This guy's last name is Gentili. This is not Gentili that we're talking about.
No
Just
relation
so everybody
to
knows.
Gentili.
Okay.
This is Michael Gentili.
Okay, Michael Gentili.
And this is Yu Du, but he likes to go by the name of Alan.
Okay.
Alan Du. He's from China, but he spends a lot of time in Northern California playing poker, and he's got some businesses up there as well.
Okay, I mean, this
And
is
he's
a
just been
prestigious
crushing.
event, this 5K. I mean, that's all the heroes play it. You get a lot of chips. It's a big deal.
He had 45% of the chips in play when we were 9-handed.
Wow, that's
He had
pretty cool.
55% of the chips in play when we were 6-handed.
How are they doing now?
Just crushing.
Okay,
He has
wow.
88% of the chips in
Oh
play.
my
He's
goodness.
crushing.
Wow.
He has looked back. Now, the funny thing is I had a buddy of mine in here who plays high-stakes cash games, and plays with him. Because when he's in Northern California, he'll play in a 25-50 no limit game or sometimes bigger. And he said the first 2 months they played with this guy, he crushed them.
Wow.
Because he plays such an unconventional, unorthodox style that it took him that long to kind of figure out what was going on.
Okay.
But before they knew it, this guy was up like $150,000 on him and his buddies.
That's great. And now, I mean, he's doing
And
the
now
same
he's
thing in this
crushing
field
here,
right
yeah.
now. That's pretty cool.
So pretty insane. Anyway, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
How's
This
the
is fun.
online bracelet going?
It's going well for me. I got lucky with a set early against flush draw and aces, so I more than doubled up. And now I've just been kind of sailing ever since.
How's the field?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, play online is tough to gauge who you're playing against, how tough they are. I'm not an online player. I've done a little bit of it, but not much. So I'm making notes on players as if it were live. You know, I don't have a heads-up display or anything like that. So
I can't. I can't even talk about your hand because we are live.
Oh wow!
So I can't talk about your hand. I can see
Yeah.
that, so I don't want to give anything away, obviously.
Yeah, I mean,
But I can talk about hand afterwards.
No problem.
But it's pretty cool. I've got Tyler in here. He's literally got his laptop in the booth playing this online bracelet while we watch this.
We have other multi-tablers going on over here. So the tag team event, Motion Charania and Marvin Rettenmeyer. Motion's playing the 100K one drop at the same time as he's at the final table of the
Well, both
tag
him
team.
and Rettenmeyer.
Oh, Rettenmeyer's playing that event too?
I assume. Otherwise, why wouldn't Rettenmeyer just play for him and have Motion play that?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know.
Because that's what Doug Polk is doing. Doug Polk is playing the one drop while Ryan Fee plays that.
These guys are playing 100K buy-in tournaments and at the same time playing a 1K final table. It's pretty amazing.
Well, Jack 8-5 here. Michael flopping a pair of fives, due with the nut flush draw. He checks it back. And he hits it. That's easy enough. Easy game, right?
It doesn't look like Gentili has enough to lose a lot of chips here.
No, he's played it pretty close to the vest. I mean, he's definitely played a little more of a cautious style, trying to kind of extend this match a little bit.
That makes sense, yeah. Is Gentili a pro? I don't recognize him, but
Yeah, I mean, I think he is. It's hard to define somebody. Are they a pro? Are they not a pro? Ooh,
this card could cost him.
Yeah, Michael Rivers 2 pair, and he'd love to. Now he's got a bluff catcher. He went check on the turn as well.
I would be surprised if he pays off here, just because if he's been playing so many hours with Dew, he probably has a good feel of whether this is a card he would bluff or not. But maybe it would be. I mean, I have no idea about this character.
I mean, the interesting thing is the deuce doesn't really change much.
That's a good point. Yeah, you don't expect Dew to be value betting an 8 or a jack or something. So it
The only
doesn't
thing that
change
could
much.
be if he's turning a pair of fours into a bluff in a weird way, then you can't beat that. I mean,
right.
You can. I mean, I'm sorry. If he's turning a pair of eights into a bluff, now you can beat that. But and there's the ace of hearts. I tell you, Dew's a master. The guy's a beast. He is steamrolled. I mean, this final table, by the way. I mean, this tournament is like the who's who of No Limit Wizards.
It is, yeah.
And this guy is just steamrolling.
I didn't even play this event. It's just too
Wizards.
tough, you know?
Yeah.
I don't need to battle those guys. There's a lot of big field events with players who are not
Okay,
as
so you're on the
experienced.
button here. You're on the button.
I have a
Blinds are
decent hand.
100, 200. I assume that, if it folds to you, you're going to be opening pretty wide on the button.
We're live and we're just telling these guys about this.
Well, I'm not telling them what you have. I'm just telling
kidding.
you're on the button. I'm figuring you're going to open pretty wide on the button, right?
Probably, yeah. There's no antes yet, so I'm not going to be that wide. But
Okay,
yeah.
fair enough.
I wish I knew who these players
Small
were.
blind called, and small blind Buzzgoat called you.
It could be Dan Buskin. That's kind of close to his name. I don't know.
Oh,
you
get a three-bet here from Clemson Rich.
I don't know anything about this guy. There's no antes yet. There's no reason for them to think that I'm out of line, so I'm just going to get away from it.
You're just going to give it up.
Yeah. I mean, that's a decent hand. I can play in position, but without the antes yet, I don't need to worry about balancing my button opening position range yet because I haven't played enough hands with these guys.
Michael raising with ace-queen on the button. Dew thinking about it with 6-5 offsuit. All those purple chips, those are 100,000 each. Green chips are 25K. Once again, Tyler Patterson won a PLO8 bracelet here a couple of years ago, also a WPT champion.
That's why I like to come into booth, just for the flattery, you know?
Yeah.
You guys always say little snippets about how good everyone thinks I am, so it's...
I remember actually you final tabled the Legends, didn't you, at WPT in the bike, or no?
No, not Bicycle Club.
No, okay, I
I
thought
barely
it was.
played that one.
Must have been somebody else.
Yeah.
Somebody that looked like you.
Yeah, maybe.
Some other white guy with a beard.
No, just the I have a Borgata final table and the one that I won in Jacksonville for the WPT. Dude's looking to close this thing out right here. 4-ball's probably going to do it.
Yeah, if a 4 comes off, this tournament's over. I mean, especially even if it's the 4 spades, I don't know how. I mean, Gentili's got ace-queen with the queen of spades, too.
Wow, yeah. So, I mean, he's not going to raise. Oh, I see.
Bet
Gentili bat and a call. There we go.
And the turn card is a 3 of hearts with a pair of 3s on the board.
890,000 in there. What's the sizing if you're Gentili? He's got 1.2 million behind.
Well, you can get it in on the river or now, either one. So I'd probably check and hopefully he catches something like an 8, you know.
Right, like some random 8 or something.
Or possibly
Or maybe
bluffs.
you induce a bluff.
Yeah.
So he does check it back.
Wow, dude just checked out. He didn't even check to try to see his hand. He just checked out. It looks like he's getting a warning for this. I don't see how this could be bad heads up to check out.
He's getting a warning for just folding?
Yeah, for folding when he could have checked. I don't think that's a...
Yeah, that seems kind of weird.
It makes sense in a multi-way pot. You shouldn't be able to do that.
Obviously,
yeah,
in a multi-way pot, you're affecting the action, and that obviously is not something you want to be doing. But also folding out of turn, also not something that is permitted. But this is a situation where I'm kind of surprised because he knows he's check folding, so what's the difference? He also knows he can't win because he has 6 high.
And you're not negatively impacting any other player.
No,
so
exactly.
I don't see why you would get why that would be a warning. I kind of want to do commentary on my hands in this thing, but that doesn't make any sense. They can't see it, so like it doesn't really.
You can still give us a little insight, though. I think it's kind of cool. Like I said, the bracelet event going on right in front of us. I think it's pretty sweet.
I want a decent-sized pot there. Guys are really getting out of line in this tournament.
I was going to say, yeah, you just you raised with we went to showdown, so I can say you raised with 10-9 off in the cutoff.
Yeah.
You flopped a gutter with a flush draw.
Yep.
And then Cam 27 just went berserk with ace-7 of clubs.
Well, he goes with the check minimum raise, which is pretty fancy. I mean, you're not getting a fold when you check minimum raise very often, especially on a 3 lockdown board like that. I don't know. So, I mean, I peeled, ended up making a 9-high flush. Just you see bet after the check minimum raise. It wasn't terrible. But that's just a pretty fancy play. I guess these guys, they're trying to find new creative lines a lot because online poker is so tough. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit. Maybe I don't know who this guy is. He might just be clicking buttons. I have no idea. But
that could be my grandma.
Yeah, it could be.
Except the fact that she passed away like 18 years ago. So it's probably not my grandma.
Probably not. Yeah.
But who knows, right? If she's in Nevada, she can play. She's eligible if she can play. If she's
no, I don't. I think you actually have to be a living human to play. I don't think she's eligible.
Sorry, Grandma.
Tuck.
Sorry, Grandma. Tyler Patterson, David Tuckman in the booth here. Heads up play, event number 59. 863 players, and we are down to our final 2. It seems like a foregone conclusion that Dew will win, but I have seen crazy things. I have seen players double up again and again and again. There's a ton of chips in play. Both players make trips, and you can see they have the same kicker, so this is going to get chopped up.
I mean, so Michael only has 12 big blinds, but when you double up one time, that's plenty of chips to play heads up. I mean, 25 bigs is definitely enough to play. So
I mean, there's also so many chips in play. I mean, think about it. There's 168 big blinds in play. If Michael doubles up a couple of times, we could be here for hours at this event. Alan Dew just crushing. Thanks so much for joining us on Twitter, guys. Once again, the 3-bet contest of the day. How many main event entries will there be this year at the World Series of Poker? How many main event entries will there be total at the World Series of Poker?
I think I was involved in one of those sometime. I think 6,800 something. No, but 6,800 is my guess. 6,850 somewhere around there.
Make sure you tweet your answer to @3betclothing. Make sure you follow @3betclothing to be eligible. Pretty good software, actually.
Yeah, I like it.
I think it's much improved.
It's quick and easy.
Yeah, it's not there's some online sites that are tough to look at. I think WSOP.com is pretty good. By the way, reminder, tomorrow 3 p.m. you can win your seat for the main event on WSOP.com. We have the 25-seat guarantee.
Oh, the scramble,
3 p.m. exactly, the 25-seat scramble. For just $200, you can win your main event seat. You can turn 200 into millions.
And they're guaranteeing 25 seats, right?
25 seats,
Wow.
3 p.m. tomorrow.
That's a lot of players. Are you familiar with any online poker names? We could talk about anybody in the leaderboard yet? I don't know who any of these
No,
people
not
are.
on WSOP.com. I'm not.
Right.
And frankly, unless they out themselves, I don't like to out people.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't think it's fair.
Yeah, people. You know,
the nice thing about being online is you can be anonymous for at least a little bit.
I think it would be cool just because it's online, just because it's a World Series, if they actually put, underneath the screen name, everyone's real name. I mean, it's because it's online. Because it's World Series of Poker.com, it has to be above board. It has to be legit. Like, if you make the final table, everyone's going to know who you are.
Right, and if you make the final 6, by the way, you're going to play here at the Rio.
Live, right?
Yeah.
So everybody, I mean, you can't be completely anonymous. So I think it would be neat if they just put everyone's real name underneath it.
I think we're going to, our plan today, if this tournament ends in a reasonable amount of time, is we are actually going to do 3 final tables in one day. Streaming.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be a crazy day
Pretty
here
strong.
at the World Series of Poker.
So what else is next up there?
We're gonna like I said, if this ends, we are gonna throw the tag team on.
Oh wow, cool.
And then if the tag team ends, we're gonna throw the 25K on.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be a
Very
crazy
cool.
day of poker.
Oh, the 25K PLO.
Yeah.
Wow, what a cool one that is.
Michael Mizrachi and Robert Mizrachi still in there with 16 players left.
Wow, that's
Just
very
sick.
cool. Cool story.
You wonder about the dynamic having 2 brothers at the table. I mean, they're already tough to play with. Imagine you were in a hand with
Right.
Michael and Robert, and you're the third guy.
Yeah, I mean it would be pretty awkward because I know they're gonna try to play it on the level. You know, they're not gonna be colluding or anything like that. I would never suggest that about them because they're good guys. But even if you're trying to play as straightforward as on the level as you can, if your brother opens and you have a hand that sometimes you 3-bet and sometimes you call, you might not want to isolate your brother. You know, maybe just as another good player. So
It's a really awkward situation.
It's
and
dicey,
I think
yeah.
what you said was exactly 100% no collusion at all. Just a situation where, I mean, we've had situations like that before. I remember David Doc Sands and his girlfriend at the time, now wife,
right?
They were sitting next to each other at the main event with like 15 players left.
So unbelievable.
It's just like, yeah, I mean, sometimes situations arise like that here at the World Series and in tournaments, and you just deal with them. But if you're at the table, it does make you like, you're just, part of you is like, wow, okay, how is this going to affect the dynamic at the table? Take a look at our playwsop.com chip leaderboard, and you do with just an enormous chip lead, as you can see.
Gently is battling him back a little bit. He was down to 8 big blinds at one point. He's up to 17. And there's a $300,000 difference here. This is a pretty big heads-up match.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, playwsop.com, the #1 free poker app out there. You can play anytime, anywhere, on pretty much any device in the world. If you use the code LADIES2016, get 30,000 free play chips over at playwsop.com.
There you go.
You can work on your game for free.
I got the ladies event going on already. My girlfriend is out here sweating James Dempsey, also playing this online event. So she busted the women's event, but she got to jump into the online event. She's had more success online anyway, so I think she's comfortable.
Once again, Tyler Patterson, David Tuckman in the booth here for the 47th Annual World Series of Poker.
I'm battling away on this online WSOP.com bracelet event. You know, I cashed this last year, actually, the first year they did it. We played, we had 8 guys. I think 8's right. We all rented a cabana at Bear, the topless pool or toptional pool at Mirage, and we all played online.
Did you wear a top or not?
I was mostly topless, but sometimes I, had a shirt on.
Crazy
for some
stuff
of it.
going on at this toptional place. Tyler Patterson was not wearing a shirt. Nuts.
Anyway, but yeah, it was pretty fun. You know, a bunch of us sitting around in a cabana playing online, and just random people coming in. What are you guys doing? Why are you guys on computers? There's, you know, a bunch of beautiful women out here. Like, what is wrong with you?
Right, so you're having cocktails. You're having cocktails. There's a bunch of beautiful women walking around topless. You guys are topless as well. You're playing poker online.
It was pretty fun. It was a great time.
I mean, I guess, hey, if you're going to play poker, it's not a bad place to do it, right?
Right, exactly. Actually, I think I won more money in the cabana last longer than I did cashing in the tournament. So it was a good time beating my friends up a little bit.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, it's always fun when you can win a last longer versus your buddies.
So I just saw a graphic a minute ago that they put up here. It showed who knocked out all the players, and you knocked out all but 2 players.
Yeah, he's
so far. So he's
a
just
machine,
demolishing the field.
And he's done some really unconventional things. And I mean, he got Dominic. He raised 8-4 suited, by the way.
Okay.
Got Dominic Nietzsche to flat with ace king on the button.
Okay.
Now Dominic was second in chips, and Dew had a ton of chips. So
Wow,
I think Dominic
okay.
did not. Dominic, I assume he flatted pre, just because he was like, I don't want to play a huge pot. I want to decrease variance. I'll just call in position.
Yeah.
Flop comes out king. Pardon me. Flop comes out king 4-3, rainbow.
This is great.
Goes bet from Dew, call from Dominic.
Okay.
Natasha gets out of the way. Turns an 8.
Okay, looks pretty safe if
8
you're
of
Dominic
clubs,
at this
so
point.
backdoor flush draw
Yeah.
possibly. Right, really safe. Now it's
Yeah.
king 4-3 8 with 2 clubs.
Okay.
It goes check, bet with the ace king.
Yeah, of
check
course.
raise.
Man, and that
call.
just does that check raise. I mean, there's not a lot of credibility. It looks like a backdoor flush draw. Could look like an open ender maybe.
Right.
I mean, the 2 pairs just aren't there. The king 8s, the 8
river,
4s.
yeah, the
that's
river
not
was
there
the
very
jack of
often.
hearts.
Okay.
All in. Dominic tanked. Talked it out. It was really interesting. He actually talked through the whole thing. Hated his spot, and then eventually called, and he was out.
Wow. That's a tough one.
And I think he was going to be with his chip stack, because he had over 5 million at this point. With over 5 million chips and only about a 2-to-1 chip disadvantage to do, I think he was probably the player who was going to give Dew the most problems.
That makes sense. I mean, he's super
And he's such
accomplished.
a beast.
I know Dominic. Yeah, it's not fun having him at the table.
3-time bracelet winner and everything.
Wow, I didn't know he had 3. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, 3 bracelets.
Yeah.
He is there aren't many Europeans who have that many bracelets or more. George Danzer and Max Pescatori, the only Europeans with 4 bracelets now.
Does Dominic play all the other games, or is all his events in Hold'em? I see him as a big bet guy, just Omaha and PLO, or Omaha and Hold'em, but I might be wrong. I don't know. He was talking a little trash here.
Yeah, he can talk. He's fun, like I said.
He's mostly having fun, but. Essentially, he's handling it well.
Alan raises to 300,000.
I am now on break in the World Series event.
You're on break?
Yeah.
How long's your break?
It is 5 minutes.
This is the one thing about online events, not just this, but all online events. The breaks are so short.
Yeah.
Like, that's not enough time for me to do anything.
I mean, it's just to run to the bathroom and get back, and that's it, you know?
Right, I mean, I guess you just need to play on your laptop, or you can actually play on your mobile phone, can't you?
You can play on your mobile phone, yeah. I didn't do that this time, but I did for a little bit.
I think last year I saw somebody playing on their mobile phone that was cracked, too. I just noticed that.
I have a little bit, yeah.
I just noticed that your iPhone is cracked, so I was thinking to myself, I actually remember last year somebody playing on like a completely shattered iPhone.
That's pretty
It just
funny.
made me laugh. I was like, really? Wow.
People are playing while they're playing these other events too. I saw I have a friend in the PLO8 that's playing on his phone at the same time or on an iPad, and I heard some of the women.
Multi-tabling back here at the World Series of Poker. If you're in Nevada, that's great. Good stuff. Gotta love it.
So I heard there is at least one male in the ladies event this year. I know they put up to 10,000. Yeah.
Seriously?
So the previous 2 years, I don't think anybody did that they had this 10,000 buy-in, but I heard a friend was telling me that her and a bunch of people put together a bunch of money to get him in for 10,000. So there's some, I don't know if it's a joke, a stunt for charity, I don't know. But
I mean, frankly,
in
all fairness, if any man wants to put 10x the entry fee,
I mean, the women should be happy about it, probably.
I mean, hey, why wouldn't you be thrilled?
Unless there's some kind of reason socially where you think it's wrong for them to do that. I imagine the women got to be excited that there's that much more out of the prize pool. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of a ladies event, and I love the idea of a seniors event where people can play in that environment. And I hated when we saw men playing in the years past. But frankly, like I said, if a man actually wants to put up $10,000 while the women are putting up 1,000,
yeah,
I don't see how anybody would be upset. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
yeah. I mean, they can't actually think he can be profitable, and that has to be for other reasons. They don't
There
think
is
they're
not.
winning.
There is no man in the world,
No shot,
none,
no shot.
Phil Ivey included,
No shot.
whose ROI is that good in that
No,
tournament.
of course not. So I mean, they have to be doing it for another reason. You know, it has to be just for a fun, for a bet, for a whatever. So seems good to me. I could see some people getting upset about it. I'd like to hear their reasoning if they are upset about it, but
right.
I see it rubbing some people the wrong way.
I mean, frankly, I don't care what tournament I play in. If anybody wants to put up 10 times the amount that I'm putting in,
Yeah, I agree.
and we get the same amount of chips. It's not even a rebuy or a re-entry.
Right.
We're getting the same amount of chips. You're going to put up 10 times the amount I'm putting up. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Let's party.
Totally,
I'm all for that.
I totally agree. My cards are back in the air. James Dempsey's still surviving over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 500,000-ish. Looks like 25 big blinds. All right, rooting for him. Are we supposed to be non-biased in the booth? I don't really know. I mean, I'm not even talking about this
I'm
tournament,
unbiased,
so it's
but no,
probably
for
okay.
you. I mean, poker community is a small knit group. I mean, we have friends. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And if I bring in guest commentators, I expect you're here because you're railing somebody. It's not a big
Right.
deal. So go ahead and cheer.
All right.
But I generally am fairly objective. Every once
That
in a while
sounds right.
that I'm rooting for somebody, but not
I
often.
mean, you're the host of the show. It seems right. You should be maybe a little objective, but
It's an interesting flop here. Fives are still good, but Gentili actually is a huge favorite. He can catch a diamond, a 7, a 10, or a 6.
wow, yeah. I mean,
And now suddenly Do is a favorite.
and neither one of them can really know it. I mean, who had the lead in this hand pre-flop? Do you know?
This was Lim Jin.
Okay.
Blinds are 61.20. The pot's only 280.
Can't imagine either of them folding here, but.
That's 220,000.
I mean, this could be a spot for Gentili to shove, but I don't think he wants to make decisions like that against you. It looks like he's really trying to keep everything small and just have the best hand.
Gentili does call. Oh,
My goodness.
That makes it easier. Now, if Du knew exactly what Gentili had, he would check to Michael.
Yeah.
But obviously, when Michael checks back and then calls, you kind of put him on like maybe a 9-ish.
Yeah, that sounds right. Sure.
Is that reasonable?
Sure, yeah. I mean, the ranges are super wide right here.
Right, it's heads
So
up.
yeah, I wouldn't be able to try to narrow it down.
I just feel like, maybe he's betting a king, maybe,
Yeah.
I mean, he could be really, he could actually be super strong. He could even have a flush.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even know what line I would take here. I'd probably just bet something small because his stack is so small that every chip matters so much to Gentili. If you can get a couple blinds out of him here with the pair, it'd be great.
That's 700,000. Takes down the pot. His next hand, the blinds are going to be up.
So blinds are moving up here to 8160.
Ooh, that's tough for Michael.
Yeah, it's put up or shut up time, right?
Yeah. Those numbers on the screen, I think, were before. Yeah, there you go. After the blind increase.
12-1 chip lead for Alan Du.
And it's tough to do anything but just rip it in with 10 big blinds.
And that's Alan's rail.
I guess still got a 20,000 ante, 80.
We are live from the Rio All Suite Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. Once again, the 25-seat scramble is tomorrow on WSOP.com.
That's a good one.
3 p.m. $200. Win your seat into the main event.
I hate I'm going to miss that one. I'm on a golf outing tomorrow, but
You
I
got a
might.
golf outing?
Yeah, it's going to
What
be.
time?
Well, we're playing 36 holes at Shadow Creek tomorrow, so I'm pretty excited about it.
It's like 110 degrees.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going to play the main event the next day. I'm going to take the next day off, recover, and then play the main event
So
the
I
next.
guess you're playing day 1C.
Day 1C for me, yeah. It's not bad. You stay hydrated, it'll be fun. You got carts. There's actually some shade at Shadow Creek, which it sounds silly being out in the desert, but they built so many. I mean, the place is so unbelievable. I guess I could fire it up on my phone in the cart. You know?
Yeah, you could.
Really could do that. The 25 seats.
I mean, it might annoy your friends if it's like it's your turn to hit. And you're
Yeah.
like, wait, I'm in a hand. But who knows? Another pot for Dew. And what kind of hand is Gentili looking for to get it in with at this point? Whether it's calling off or shoving.
Oh man.
I mean, at this point, he knows he's gonna have to gamble. And it's
Yeah.
not even like. By the way, even if he were to, he's gotten himself so low that even if he were to double up once, he would still be way behind.
Yeah, he'd still be in pretty bad shape, but he could make a lot more decisions if he does double up one time. So it is very valuable doubling now, but you got to do it in the next 3 or 4 hands. You can't get down to 5 or 6 big blinds.
I mean, are you looking? A hand is Queen 8.
Yeah, I mean he's I would think he would shove Queen 8.
Can you call off with a hand like Queen 9?
It depends. You got to know something about Dew. I probably wouldn't, but.
He's
Yeah,
going to go all in here.
This
and
is
Dew's
for
gonna
sure
call.
getting it in.
Yeah, this is standard. Ace-7, ace-deuce. Now,
Well,
Dew
actually
obviously a
chops a lot.
significant favorite, but as you pointed out, bottom right corner of your screen, you'll see it. This is a split 29% of the time.
Man, these
Dew is
graphics
going
are
to win
so
this
good.
48%. Yeah, our team, the production team, they do a great job.
Yeah, it's
every single year they come back and they kind of raise the bar. They get all the credit in the world, and they should.
Yeah,
By the way,
we
the
even had
$1,000 tag team still four-handed. So if this does end here, and I think Dew will call, and if Dew wins this hand and it ends, what we'll do is on the next reasonable break, we'll bring the tag team over.
Cool.
We're not going to move them until there's a break, though.
1.43.
Polk Fee still chip leader there. Sharania Retmeyer currently second. Dempsey, Godfrey, your buddies, are in fourth.
So Dempsey and Godfrey. I mean, Dempsey is a professional poker player. Very, you know.
There's the call, and it's ace deuce versus ace 7.
Now they see the cards. The railings go crazy.
Queen Jack 6, nothing there for Gentili. This will be split 40% of the time. Still. Gentili kind of hoping for a deuce
Anything
or a
higher
high
than a
non-spade.
7. Yeah.
That's a good card.
Very good card for Gentili.
Yeah, now this will be split 60% of the time. Dew looking for a 7 or a low card. It's over.
That will do it.
By the way, I'm incredibly impressed by Dew's rail that they knew.
Right away, yeah. It wasn't
They
a
knew
chop. They're like,
immediately.
right away.
Usually fans
It took
are
me
like,
a second.
That's what I'm saying. Usually fans are like, did he win?
I don't know what
Does the
happened.
7 play or not?
Well, it's pretty cool the setup out there with in the Thunderdome now. Like you can see the flop camera and all that stuff. So it has made the fan experience a lot better.
Well, there you have it. Second place, Michael Gentili. He came in, by the way, as our second shortest stack.
Oh wow, nice.
So he
What a
laddered
run.
up to 494,000. By the way, fifth place, which is where he would have slotted in theoretically, was 179,000. He ended up making 494. So obviously, when he looks at the way the chips were kind of laid out, he obviously has to be very, very happy.
Very successful final table and against tough opponents too.
But you do. What a performance by Alan here. Alan do. Our chip leader throughout and our dominating chip leader throughout, and it's always so impressive to see that. Take a look at our Crush Live Poker prizes. Takes home $800,000, and that will do it for us for this particular event. But we are not done for the day. We're going to take a short break, and once we can move over the tag team event, we'll get that over there. And then once that
Get out,
finishes,
bracelet event.
there you have it, bracelet event. That's right, WSOP.com, guys. Play on. You can win your main event seat tomorrow at 3 p.m. in the 25-seat scramble. He's Tyler Patterson. I'm David Tuckman. As I mentioned, tag team next, and then later on today, the 25K PLO. Congratulations to Alan Dew, $800,000 in his pocket, and of course a bracelet. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fun.
Don't go anywhere. We will be back very shortly with more action here at WSOP.com/live. Bye for now.
want to learn the keys to maximizing profit in live poker games? Well, I'm Bart Hansen for CrushLivePoker.com. Have a look at this. David Levy's going to lay down the hammer here with his combo draw. Now, Matt Glantz bet into the pre-flop razor in Locky, and he's going to make a disciplined fold with top pair and a flush draw, a hand that a lot of people strongly overvalue.
I like to heat things up at PlayWSOP.com.
I get lost in the action at PlayWSOP.com.
Want to move it halfway? I'm learning how to play poker at PlayWSOP.com.
I like to play free poker at PlayWSOP.com.
Start having fun today at PlayWSOP.com. Join today and get 15,000 chips to start your bankroll plus free chips every 4 hours. Don't miss our daily promotions and contests. That's PlayWSOP.com.